All right, welcome back, Pokemon fans. We are live, and we are going to be doing the top 8 of the Trooper Tour Evolving Skies.
We did it. We
I
made
am
it.
James Arnold, and I am excited to be taking you through the rest of the action this evening. And sitting next to me is the Steven Durham.
Hey guys.
And both very, very excited for what's to come here. We've got our top 8 matchup. I believe they are sitting down and ready to go for us soon. What is it that we're going to be seeing here?
We've got Richard Sepulveda, who we saw earlier, on single strike with Umbreon. So it's a deck that we've seen today versus Anthony Strange playing Victini. And this is more of a straight Victini. 4 Victini V, 4 Victini V Max on Path to the Peak. And they're really just trying to lock it out, just be very aggressive and straightforward. So I'm excited to see this. Our top 8 match, and we should be good to go.
I'm definitely interested to see exactly how the transition to best of 3 impacts these matchups. So
then being able to see it and feel it out for sure.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into the game here and see what we got. All right, and we do see Anthony there on the left, and they are going to be playing the. I believe Anthony is on the Victini deck, and then we've got Richard Sepulveda on the right there. It is a top 8 best of 3, 75 minutes, and they will be starting shortly. All right, and we are underway in the top 8 of the Trooper Tour Evolving Skies. We are going to be having that Victini VMAX versus Single Strike Urshifu Umbreon deck. All right, we do see it's all about those Houndours.
Starting Houndours are very important. We saw just being the quicker you can get Houndoom online, the better this deck is, and where Anthony is playing just 4 Victini and 4 Victini VMAX, we did see a couple of extra draws for Richard to start this game. So he's up a couple of cards inherently, kind of letting him set that up a little better for sure.
All right. As we do see the Single Strike Tower coming to play, and then Marnie as the first supporter of the game. The only play from Anthony being that Heat Energy onto Victini, which will increase Victini's HP by 20. And be the fact that Heat Energy stacks is just so much fun. I remember playing that on the tag team Reshazard there for a while.
I'm very excited to see how this Victini deck functions, being without Welder, which was at our last Trooper Tour we saw kind of the Welder Victini list, but it still has a lot of play and being able to path to the peak people, and it's got some like Yell Grunts and stuff.
Yeah, that energy denial between the Crushing Hammers and the team Yell Grunts.
Rugged Helmet is an interesting one too for sure. So there's a lot going on, and the deck's obviously good if it's made it this far. So
yeah, for sure. All right. As we do see just this initial setup turns of trying to get those Houndours into play here.
Richard sets the second one up, grabbing the Crobat. We have the Evolution Incense as well. That should be a good turn for Richard for sure.
It should, yeah.
And Anthony being on the lone Victini here with only a Path to the Peak, a couple of energies, kind of limited, on what his options are. So this may be a quick game 1.
Yeah, this may be a quick game 1 just with that lone Victini V there.
And there's the Umbreon coming down, which doesn't really matter right now, not threatening much without a bench for Anthony.
It's going to be very, very cool to see exactly how this Victini deck operates, because we saw some Victini, like a toolbox deck earlier, but this literally, and I cannot stress this enough, folks, is 4 Victini V and 4 Victini V Max.
Yep.
That's what we've got to work with. We're trying to max victory and only max victory here. So we are going to see that Pokegear go ahead and come out, a card that has just through the years been very much a cornerstone of these simplified single attacker decks. I remember back in the day you playing with the quad
Terrakian,
deck so
ZPS.
Yep.
When Zekrom, Patricio, Shaman played it.
Yep.
Those just very linear strategies really work well with that Pokegear because look at the top 7 and then grab a supporter. So when you're trying to do one thing very well, Pokegear is a great combination. We saw that a lot when Welder first came out, and typically early in formats, especially one where you're trying to abuse one thing.
Yeah.
One thing is very powerful. That's when it's at its best. So, and in this deck, there's not really one thing it's trying to abuse per se, but you have a lot of room.
And
right?
unfortunately, we just see that Victini remaining Victini V and not becoming the V
And
max.
this is a turn that if Richard is able to evolve multiple Houndour, the game could end here, right?
Yep.
I mean, we have a big hitting a single strike Urshifu, so
Yeah, the Houndoom that we almost certainly are going to see is just one of my favorite cards in current standard for sure. The utility that this card provides to be able to just go ahead and accelerate this energy is just so powerful. And we've seen cards like this in the past, and the one that this one always reminds me of is that Dark Electrode from back in like the 2004-2005 times there.
That's in the olden days.
Yeah, that is in the olden days, and where you would be able to search your deck for a dark energy and attach it to itself.
Yep.
Back in the day, you would have to move that via another Pokemon. These days, you're just able to accelerate that, get that into play, and it's so cool just seeing stuff like that continue to grow in the Pokemon trading card game.
And then being able to find ways to bring these effects back. We've talked about Umbreon a lot today, and a lot of different cards. It's really neat that they're able to, these Pokemon get bigger. You talk about power creep, attacks, HP, but the game still at its core you see it. It kind of remains the same in some aspects, and that's really fun.
Yeah, and we do see that single strike Scroll of Scorn once again seeing play on that benched Urshifu VMAX, and it's very, very interesting that this card, we've talked about this card so much today. Going into today, would you have thought that we would be talking about this card as much as we have?
I definitely don't think so. My thing is every time someone's played it, I don't know. Have we seen an attack with it yet?
No, but we have seen it lose someone the game.
We have seen that.
Yeah, just not in the way that the creators may have intended it.
So it's definitely one of those things that's really neat. And it's great to have access and utility too. I think a lot of people put it on there to maybe bait a tool scrapper or something.
Yeah, honestly, like just the fact that you have the option to at some point have a 1 energy attack if you are to miss a second Houndoom somewhere or something like that. It is a very powerful card and underrated, I think, because when these Pokemon have so much HP like they do, they're able to take a big hit. So for instance, like things like Zacian can't swing in against this because then I can just for 1 energy knock out a Zacian.
Exactly. And it's a great utility to have. We've just not seen those situations where that comes up. Similar cards like Ludicolo and other cards that people are playing right now that are great in certain situations. It just has to be that situation, you know, and if you play enough games, you'll see it, but not always what you're doing for sure.
And we do see the Houndoom ability get activated here to go ahead and search the deck for single strike energy. Going to be able to attach that to any of our single strike Pokemon in play. I imagine it's going on that Urshifu, and there's kind of a combo here too because you're putting a couple damage counters on your Urshifu, and that can also manipulate the math on Furious Anger, the attack on the Scroll of Scorn. So it is all meant to just go together.
Oh man. That's a strategy.
That strategy really excited
That's
me.
a strategy that I'm familiar with. Donphan Prime puts damage counters.
Does it?
That's my favorite Pokemon card of all time.
Is it?
Puts
I
damage counters.
personally, I've never heard you talk about Donphan Prime.
On your Pokemon for them to get angry and then outrage back. Similar to Furious Anger.
Sure, yeah.
If anyone out there can build some sort of a deck, is there a single strike? Is there a Donphan? It's not a single strike though. The one from Vivid Voltage
isn't.
I'm going to figure that out.
Okay.
Probably
very
not going to be good.
Are you excited for the Donphan Prime reprint coming out in Celebration?
I am very much. I'm going to own all of them. I think that's going to be my goal. It seems like a modest one.
So we are seeing some action here. We are seeing a boss's orders on that benched Houndour, and that Victini V is going to be able to knock that out. But that is literally, we are handless. This prize that we're getting, Anthony.
Professor's research.
Oh my goodness!
Man, he's still gonna knock it out, but
sure. But we're in the game.
We are in the game.
Yeah, Coach put me in.
So he took one prize.
Yeah, we're back.
That's about as good as he could get there.
It really, really is. So we do see that prize taken. That Professor's Research being the card there. Yeah, I don't know if you could have asked for anything better outside of maybe like a Rhyhorn or something.
Yeah, you don't have to look at it again, Anthony. That's what it is. He double checked, dude. So let me make sure. That's really what I drew here. Oh, goodness.
All right. And it looks like we are going to see potentially a Capture Energy. Well, we're seeing a Capture Energy somewhere, it looks like, but it was almost on Umbreon. But it looks like we are going to be attaching it to that active Urshifu because we do need the 4 energy in order for Urshifu to go ahead and do that damage. Let's go ahead and see that single strike Urshifu here instead of Donphan Prime.
I think we should have left Donphan up for the rest of the event, but I respect that we need to let people see the other cards.
To be fair, single strike Urshifu is like just a strictly better Donphan Prime.
Okay, well I'm definitely unfriending.
So we actually did see a Gust on the benched one here.
What's the advantage to doing that?
So what's interesting here is we are going to be able to potentially KO the active without needing to use the Gmax 1 blow attack and discard the energy attached.
Okay.
Because if we do go ahead and see this come out, because right now it looks like we are doing at 140 to the active. So I'm not exactly sure where we're intending to get that.
Does Umbreon have to pull something up, or is it optional?
Let me see, because they have definitely change that over time on those types of effects. As far as Umbreon VMAX, yeah, it is a you may. It is an option. I was going to say most of those have always been optional, but I was just wanted to make sure. We even drew the Victini VMAX off the top before our research. So can you draw it up any? Did you see the head shake there from Richard? As that,
he thought this one was on a lock too.
He really did. I mean,
he's still up.
Before there was a prize, it was no hand.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and see what Anthony is able to put together. We do see that 140 damage come out here. I believe that that play from Richard, he just really did not want to discard those energies. If he doesn't have access to a bunch of Urn of Vitalities to get those energy back, then
well, you have to look at it from his perspective, and that he assumed Anthony wasn't going to be doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
He was on one card. Too, yeah. He was like, I'll just 2-shot this one and load my board up to secure this victory. And now you see Anthony getting the ability to take this giant turn, play a research. He already attempted a Crushing Hammer, putting Rugged Helmet on. You're going to have to inform me, James, as to, me and Richard both do not know what Rugged Helmet does.
Okay, well, let me, I've got just the thing, and it's called a picture of Rugged Helmet.
I would really like that.
I do what I can. So we've got Rugged Helmet on the screen, and it states if this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack, you may put an energy attached to the attacking Pokemon into your opponent's hand. So it's very similar to things like Rocky Helmet in the past that would do damage, but instead it's all about that energy denial, and that combos with things like the Team Yell Grunt and the Crushing Hammers to just try and get ahead, because this is the type of strategy that where you would often see like Crushing Hammers in ADP last format, where you're just trying to get ahead early and make your opponent miss an attack. But these type of effects, especially ones that return energy, are usually not at their best against a deck that can accelerate energy like Houndoom.
Or Single Strike, where they're going to knock it out in one hit, versus like trying to hit you like Rapid Strike, or other decks that are trying to 2-shot something,
Yeah, and you do see that Team Yell Grunt. We will likely see that get played at some point in this match. It does return an energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon to their hand. So that combined with Rugged Helmet, you can just go ahead and put a bunch of energy back into their hand over time, potentially make them miss an attack, or at least miss the attack that they were hoping to do.
Absolutely.
So it does look like we are going to see an attack from Urshifu VMAX to knock out Victini there. That Rugged Helmet going to go ahead and put Capture Energy back into Richard's hand as we see some prizes get taken there. And we do see a Quick Ball discarding a Quick Ball.
He's just got so many resources now. He doesn't know
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean, you think about it. He doesn't have any Pokemon, like, and so he's fine to discard the other one.
so there is a Tool Jammer, is on that Victini. So there's not really anything as far as that goes. Like, you don't need to worry about the scroll as much
Sure.
unless you think your opponent is able to get rid of your Tool Jammer, because then you're able to just swing in, not have to worry about taking that exact amount of damage back, because as you know, or may not know, Victini VMAX really likes dealing damage to V Pokemon. As we see Victini VMAX make its way back onto the screen with that max victory attack here.
We saw Anthony discard that Victini, so
Yeah.
he's out of Pokemon other than what you see on the board now,
Yep.
which is perfectly fine. He's going to literally force Richard now to knock both of these out.
So this is what you see. What's really, really cool about the 3 prize Pokemon is that in a game like this, you can give up that 2 prize
Yep.
and then still make your opponent need to KO
6
2,
prizes.
3 prize Pokemon.
Yep.
And it really is just about expending those resources. And that's where things like that energy denial, that's where things like those heat energies that add extra HP to
Yep.
each of your fire Pokemon that they're attached to. It's things like that that really, really is going to give Victini some advantages in matchup.
Absolutely. So the best way to look at this point is let's ignore everything that happened up until this point
Yep.
when Richard took that knockout, because it didn't essentially matter in terms of prizes. Richard does have this board state now, but he's got to take 6 prizes, and we see them on the table. So now Anthony's hitting first on a fresh game for him on a big single striker. So he's mapping his path to victory. And that was very smart. Anthony kind of lucked into it with the research, but it's favoring him a lot in this
For sure.
situation. Like being able to just give up that first one and then start the game.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, and we do see it's kind of interesting. So we saw that capture energy get bounced back, right?
Yes.
So we're down in energy there, so we've only got 2 energy on that Urshifu, and with that Tool Jammer active, that also can't just use the Scroll of Scorn.
Yep.
So we are going to need to either accelerate energy onto that and invest more resources in an extremely damaged Pokemon.
One that will die.
Yeah, or we're going to not be able to attack. So it's kind of just putting your opponent in situations like that where Victini can just kind of inch out ahead.
He has both of these Houndooms, right?
He does.
So is he just fine now to do that? Can he one hit this Victini now?
So no.
Okay, then
With-
yeah.
Let's go ahead and just double check the math. So Gmax 1 blow does 270 damage. So that's 290 with a single strike energy, 310 with another single strike energy, and then that Victini VMAX, however, I believe
320, right?
Yeah, well, it's also got that heat energy attached
Yeah.
to it. So that really is just going to go ahead and push it over the edge. So is that the 320?
Maybe 340, 310.
330
Yeah, so
total.
330 total.
So we would need the other 2 single strike energy in
Yeah.
order to hit that number.
Yep.
And that, unfortunately, is not looking likely, especially considering, I believe, is that a single strike energy on one of the benched Pokemon? So
it is, yeah. One
definitely not going to happen. So we do see a Diamond and Pearl switch there. Big fan of that one. Got a little Turtwig action. We do see that damaged friend hit. Oh, nope. That would be KO'd Pokemon. All right. We see the Umbreon come out there. And see, this is really, it looked not great at first, but it didn't matter. Like you were saying,
Yeah.
it's kind of just a restart of the game. But Anthony is very far ahead from the looks
now,
of things here.
and it's crazy how you spent the first 4 turns watching Richard set this board up, and you're like, okay, there's really nothing we can do here. You know, Victini's just going to lose, and then he gives up the free one. He sets 2.
He's really looking for a boss here, I believe, because a boss on that.
He found it.
Yep, that a boss. Now here's the thing: you don't really want to take the 3 prizes here.
Yeah.
You want to take the 2 prizes because
Yep.
that Pokemon that has 6 damage on the bench, the baby Urshifu V.
Yep.
that can get KO'd here by the Victini.
Exactly.
But if that evolves next turn, it won't get KO'd, and
Yep.
we need to finish the game soon.
I
So,
think he pointed out. Yep. Okay.
oh, it looks like we are going to go ahead
Okay.
and bring out the 3 prizer and take that. So,
Now the plan would be to take the single prizer and then boss again later.
yeah, I'm
so-
interested to see where Anthony takes this. I definitely would have gone for that 2 prize Pokemon there, and then just left that super damage 3 prize
Yep.
Pokemon in play to kind of checkmate my opponent.
Now it does seem. I mean, he has a Crobat on the bench. So Victini does one shot the Crobat as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, he's still in his mind. I think that he,
Sure.
you know, now
And
that
it took that big guy off the board.
now that he goes down to 2 prizes, he's really just going to be looking at the Crobat now.
Sure. All right. And we do see that air balloon onto the Umbreon so that Umbreon can move around as it pleases. And keep in mind, everyone, it's kind of cool because the strategies that each of these players employ could change as more information comes out. As we are in a best of 3 now, we are looking at a situation where you can kind of feel out exactly what your opponent has in their deck list. Because
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty easy for us to sit here and go, oh well, maybe they should do this because they can play around this when we're looking at deck lists. But the players do not have access to these deck lists at this time, so they're still trying to discover exactly what their opponent has for them.
And now that Richard's watched this game happen, where he took the 2 prizes and had a single strike up there, presented, and then watched how this game played out, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to navigate the next one differently.
Yeah, it could be a situation where you would want to just damage but not knock out Victinis.
Yep.
Or some type of strategy like that.
Or it depends, you know. And like I said, this game got away from Richard very fast.
Yeah.
That one turn.
And
So
of course, I mean, it's not over.
no.
There's still any number of things that could happen here. I mean, players make decisions. There's
there's a lot of decisions.
there's a lot of decisions to be made. That's one of the most beautiful things about this format in particular is I do really feel like there's a lot of decisions each and every turn in this format, regardless of the matchup. As we do see that single strike energy come out onto that benched Urshifu V. I can't imagine that we attack with anything other than a VMAX here, as you definitely want to force Anthony to try and find another way to bring up a Pokemon that they can finish the game with.
Yep.
So there's that single strike tower going to go ahead, that Tower of Darkness going to go ahead and let Richard discard a single strike card, draw 2, and then get those 3 prize cards.
So go down to 1.
Go down to that 1, but let's see if there's a boss here. Well, it doesn't look like a boss because we're hammering away. So that is going to be a heads on the hammer, though, and that is going to go ahead and take away that single strike energy on the benched Urshifu V. Let's go ahead and see what Anthony's got. It doesn't look like a boss, so we may not be able to finish the game this turn.
Energy VMAX. Okay, he's going to discard those with the research.
So there's the research. So we are going to go ahead and draw a fresh 7.
There's boss in this hand now, with some like another crushing hammer and stuff like that. At this point, I think he's pretty much he's going to concede that he can't win this turn, and then just try to do everything to make sure he doesn't get knocked out.
I mean, because the thing is that outside of, because this Victini also has a heat energy, so outside of Richard somehow being able to get those energies off of that Umbreon and then also get all of them into that Urshifu, there's no way that Victini's going down in one hit.
So he's just going to thin it out a little bit more, but he already, in case he gets Marnie.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So it's small things like this that really can make the difference in your games. So we're using these evolution instants. Obviously, we don't want to have those anymore. So not only does Anthony not want those going back in his deck, but because of the way that Marnie works, being able to grab that Victini VMAX that we definitely will not be needing for the rest of the game and is just a dead card, so that if there was to be a Marnie, it goes to the bottom of the deck instead, is very strong and adds up over time.
Exactly.
It's small optimizations like that really splits the difference between players.
Do you believe attaching an energy manually here is correct as well? Like, just to further that game plan, there's no reason it shouldn't have like 5 on it. Right?
Exactly. So now that we're in the end game, we know that Richard's deck is not really interacting with energy, and there's no punishment there, but we don't need more energy. We're good. So outside of a heat energy applying an actual effect to what we're doing, we just don't want energy cards to draw. We only want boss's orders. And that's just going to go ahead and bring up one of those V Pokemon on the bench that Victini can KO, namely now that Crobat that Urshifu has evolved. But boss's orders, just the spiritual reprint of Lysander, and it's definitely the cornerstone of the game.
Yeah. Which is why Umbreon's so great to be able just to have that on
that
the body.
effect. Like, I mean, from back as far as base set, gusting up your opponent's Pokemon with Gust of Wind and such effects has always been an extremely powerful strategy that is just one of the most important things in the Pokemon trading card game, regardless of the format, is what your Gust options are. So we do see Richard doing the same thing, thinning out those Evolution Incense, just try and get those extra cards that you aren't needing at this point in the game. These last few stages of the game, we are going to see that single strike tower. Going to go ahead and discard an Umbreon, find a Quick Ball and a Professor's Research for Richard, but I'm not sure that either of those really progresses his game plan much more.
Really going to try to like retreat this Umbreon out, bring something else up to just hope he doesn't knock him out, right?
See, one of the... are we trying to understand how those went to the discard pile there when there's an air balloon attached on the Umbreon? Because that's definitely extremely relevant.
Tool Jammer here.
Tool Jammer, yes. There we go. See, that's what I was missing. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you, Omar. Yeah, I missed it as well for just a second, so that's good. That's actually a super, super powerful and good for Richard is what I was getting at, because getting those energy back in the discard pile, and that's what I was about to say, was that air balloon preventing him from putting those energy in the discard pile would be a problem, but now we can go ahead and shuffle those in with the urn and then reuse those on someone else.
And we saw him research away a Marnie here.
Yeah.
Assuming, I guess, Anthony doesn't have a boss's orders?
Well, it's not so much that. Yeah, we were able to do it. We were able to actually get there with because we had the double urn.
So he was able to get all 4 of them?
Yeah, we were able to get the well, yeah. So we were able to get the Gmax 1 below, it looks like, for the knockout.
I think he's at 330. Right?
It should have been. Yep. But it looks like we did have a concession there, which definitely does happen. So. All right. All right, and we are just going to go ahead and get set up for this second game here.
And I want to give you all some updates on the other matchups in top 8. It looks like Jamie, our first seed, has won his first game. Brian has won his first game, and then Devin won first game as well. So Jamie is on Shadow Rider. We've got Brian on Suicune, James. I know you like that deck.
I do. I do like Suicune.
And then Devin's on Ice Rider. So. Okay.
All right, and the player's just getting set up for the game here, and we do.
So Richard is up here going into game 2.
Yep. There we are.
All right, as we go just under 48 minutes, they're right on track there. 28, you know.
Yep. Yeah, and that first game usually does take a little bit longer just to feel out the decks, figure out what your strategy is going to be, figure out what you're going to do. So we are seeing the players set up here, and we are heading into game 2 of top 8 of Trooper Tour Evolving Skies. All right.
Now, last time we saw Anthony have to give Richard a couple cards extra because he is just on. I don't know how many times we can specify 4 Victini and 4 Victini VMAX. So that does require some extra.
I'm very well familiar with only running like 4 basics in a deck and
Okay.
being able to make that happen. So very familiar with this mulligan phase of the game that does take place with these style of decks, as these consistent strategies I very much love.
I do like. I'm a fan of Quad Terrakion. Gave up many a free card at the beginning of a match. So
Yeah. Yeah, he was able to get the 3 single strike energy on the Urshifu to go ahead and get that knockout. That is what ended up happening at the end of game 1. Sorry for the confusion on that there. I think there was some confusion on a lot of different areas there, but there was a lot of things happening quickly. But Richard did take the game there, was able to go ahead and get the exact correct math, that 330 damage, after he was able to retreat that Umbreon, discarding those single strike energy. He hit those urns off of that research, which is why he went for that rather than Marnie, because he was just going for the win and needed that urn.
And that's part of like where they're both on their headsets communicating with each other.
Yeah.
He verbalized all of that to his opponent and then laid them down and he conceded. So we had to fix that up.
Yeah, with that third single strike energy.
All right, it looks like Jamie has won his match 2-0.
Okay.
So that means Shadow Rider is moving on to top 4. And then we had Ryan.
Yeah, that Tool Jammer really being the card that won Richard the game.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's interesting to see just how that worked out. And we're in this game and that we do see that Tool Jammer again.
We got Ryan Mooney, who we saw earlier on the stream with Suicune. It was who was eliminated. So
okay, unfortunate to see a Suicune exit the event this early.
We got one more shot.
All right, and we do see Pierre's going to go ahead and come out for Richard here. And that is going to go ahead and search the deck for any energy card and any dark Pokemon. It's really cool to see that as a setup card being used in a lot of these single strike decks, since it is able to grab Houndoom, it's able to grab Crobat, and it's able to grab all of those special energy, be it capture energy or single strike energy. As we do see Piers there, and yet another one of my favorite cards in the format, just being able to grab that guaranteed energy card, just such a strong effect.
And we see double Houndour from Richard, which is almost essential here.
Yeah, you definitely want to get at least 2 into play on turn 1. 2 is probably great. 3 is optimal if you can.
We've not seen a 3 start yet.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to do that. I mean you've got to be running pretty hot to get.
Or some Bridget. If we can get Bridget in this format,
let's reprint Bridget.
I mean, why would we not? ADP's gone. It's Christmas. I think. Never mind all the giant Pokemon you could get. Let's just find a way to do that.
Okay.
Like Pokemon Collector. Let's give it an HP cap.
Sure.
Whatever.
Yeah, we'll give it a HP cap of 450.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Yep. It can get any basic Pokemon with 450 HP or less, as we do see Marnie come out from Anthony here.
That would only be half of them. So
that would only be half.
I think that
especially it would just get power crept immediately.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see which 5 cards Anthony's able to grab here.
We see research on Richard's side, so he's okay.
Yep. And we do see an Umbreon as well. So a pretty good start here. And there's the Evolution Instance, going to go ahead and grab a Victini VMAX. Given the so many options that we have.
The actual, one more time, literal only option. The only target that card has in the deck.
All I know is that
He's playing 4 though.
I know what I'm playing
He's
on
gonna
PTC
make sure.
Geo this week. All right, let's see what Richard's able to go ahead and do. We do see that Umbreon come down. Yeah, this is pure gas off of this.
He really. I don't know if 4 better cards. Truthfully, I mean, you could technically.
Yeah, I mean, I could sit here and be like, well, actually.
But I mean, to hit the research.
It's interesting to see using that single strike tower now rather than after the research.
And it's those little things, right? So he's going to discard that switch that maybe comes up later, but we don't know.
Well, it also drew another research, so we just had to discard 2 researches to be able to play one this turn. And so that's another thing that, like, as Marnies start happening towards the end of the game, that could end up being problematic. But this is a lot of damage that we're going to be able to do this turn.
In one single strike, James. Not multiple.
Yep. So there's an evolution incense.
Anthony's shuffling kind of sad right now. You can see.
I am familiar with the sad shuffle.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, there's the VMAX, and we are going to be able to just go ahead and grab those 2, and that is the end of the game as we see the great handshake of 2021.
That would explain the sad shuffle because he knew before we did that game was over.
Yep, and unfortunately, because we were able to just hit that turn 2 330 damage with that Gmax 1 blow, sometimes all it takes is that 1 blow, and that's just all it needed to take place.
So, we've already finished. So this is the second one. The other 2 are finishing up too. Fortunately, Richard's going to play Jamie in top 4. So we may be able to get that one already set up as we finish the other 2.
And see, I'm not sure. Maybe we'll even be able to pick up one of the other top 8 games.
For sure, if they're in between matches, if they're about to start game 3, we might move them over. We're going to go check on top 8 really quick and see kind of where everybody is. And we'll be right back with you guys in just a few minutes.
Thank you all so much. All right, and welcome back, everyone. We actually are going to hop right back into the
Yep.
action here as we have a matchup between. It is game 3 of another top 8 matchup. So let's go ahead and hop into the game.
So we could showcase some more decks. So
let's go ahead, and it looks like they are fully set up here as we've got an Ice Rider versus a Single Strike.
they've got right at 29 minutes left in this game.
Yep.
So they're going to get their headsets on so they can communicate clearly with one another, and then they'll be good to go.
All right, and we are underway here in game 3 of the top 8 match between Orion, Bentley, and their Single Strike deck.
Another Single Strike deck.
Yep, and Devin, Vincent, and the Ice Rider deck.
Ice Rider.
It did end up being 2 copies of Suicune, 2 copies of Single Strike, and then 4 different decks.
I'll settle with we were both right.
I will settle with I was right and you were wrong.
Okay,
all right, so agree to disagree, and I was right. All right, and we are hopping in with the. We are going to put an Ice Rider onto the bench there.
At this point, we've seen both of these decks several times. We kind of know what both are about, and so do they. You know.
Yep.
Should be no crazy surprises. These decks both look pretty standard at this point. There's no slow kings or anything.
Nothing too
Nothing too fancy. It's just
getting the job
meat,
done.
the meat and taters of Pokemon decks.
Man, and let me tell you, I love Pokemon and I love meat and taters. So, all right, we get a couple Ice Riders onto the bench and we pass it on over.
Only one Sobble to be noted against a Single Strike that can be kind of quick.
It's definitely problematic when you do go first sometimes with these Sobble decks, just because you aren't able to use that attack.
Yeah.
And that's just such an important part sometimes of getting your setup and making sure you have enough Sobbles into play. But let's it's everyone's favorite time. It's time to see how many Houndours the Single Strike can get out.
As long as it's 1, I'm happy.
It does look like we're going to be able to get at least 1 with Quick Ball actively being used at the moment.
I was just checking for prizes here and making sure that he's got everything he needs here.
Because, again, this is not only an elimination match, but this is the elimination game.
Yep.
So it will be the winner of this game will go ahead and take the series.
And we're still waiting on the other top 8 match to see who takes that one home, too. I believe they're in game 3 as well now.
So we've got a Single Strike. We've got a Suicune, right?
In top 4?
In top 4.
So right now, only things that are guaranteed in top 4, we have a Shadow Rider and a Single Strike.
Shadow Rider and Single Strike, okay.
And then the other match we're waiting on is Suicune versus Sylveon. So either way, I think you're happy there.
Yeah, I'm happy there either way. Unfortunately, it was not 8 Flaffies in the top 8. So
yeah, that's true. Not a single one.
We can try again at the next Trooper Tour, I guess.
Oh, there will be a Flaffy in the next one.
I hope so. All right, and we do go ahead and finalize that Houndour selection. Of course, we really knew that it was going there, but
just checking everything else out.
Just making sure, because
that's a pass.
No, that's a pass.
That's a rough one.
That was not. We did get a Houndour, but
at what cost?
What cost?
Yeah, and it's a lot.
And we do see that research go ahead and refresh Devin's hand here.
Oh no. Maybe it's fine. We've seen games. We saw Victini completely turn things around. So you never know.
That is true.
But definitely
Let's see how many Sobbles we can get down here from Devin's side. If I'm Devin, I'm really just trying to focus at this point. Whenever you get into these situations, you don't want to get overzealous either way. You don't want to just assume that because your opponent had a bad hand now that they just aren't going to do anything the rest of the game. And you also don't want to play in such a conservative manner that you're not taking full advantage of trying to pressure them while they're down either. So it's kind of trying to find that balance and what you're able to do as well when you're in these types of situations, because you really want to keep applying that pressure, because even just a top decked research massively could get Ryan back in the game, because we've seen where the Single Strike Urshifu can just take these giant KOs given the right setup.
And it really doesn't take much. You know, you decide if you want to go wide or tall. It's kind of how I like to word it in my mind is like, do you want to just build that foundation to ensure that like you're ready to weather whatever storm comes, or do you want to just get really strong really fast, you know? And a lot of these decks can kind of do both. You know, they can kind of just continue their game plan, especially Ice Rider. So,
Yeah, with Melanie in particular,
Exactly.
like just that's really the thread that just keeps it going together. Just being able to just always guarantee that you're going to be able to get 2 energy onto your Ice Rider. Melanie is just so good. All right, let's see what we were able to do. So we do see a Houndoom come down, but oh, it does look like we have a Crobat, but again, that path to the peak just blocking that from being able to do anything. That setup really relying on that, and path to the peak blocking that out. Capture Energy will go ahead and probably fetch another Urshifu because this one is
in danger.
Chopping block, it looks like, with that Ice Rider ready to ride.
It really makes decisions hard. Like it really changed.
This is just one of those things that I was talking about. We were having a discussion last night at dinner about stadium cards and how obviously there's like 2 different types of stadium cards. There's like activated stadium cards that have some type of ability that you choose to use yourself, or there's static stadium cards that go ahead and just have some type of effect on the game that is just like happening at all times. Path to the Peak, obviously a static stadium card, but where it may or may not, like they could just bump it and then that card doesn't have any text, right? But look, Ryan is not bumping it, and we're just seeing that Path to the Peak every turn that stays in play. Ryan isn't able to start the game.
Exactly.
So one of the things that I was saying is that activated stadium cards win games and static stadium cards win tournaments is kind of a mentality I've had since stadium cards were printed.
I like that. Defense wins championships. You know,
it's kind of the same thing.
It's all the same.
As we do see the energy attachment for turn going on to Devin's Ice Rider on the bench. Now, we have not seen a Drizzile yet.
You're going to see a lot of them real soon, hopefully.
I am a fan. So we are going to go ahead and retreat there.
Got some Melanies and Marnies. He's really probably going to, I mean, he's attacking here regardless, right? Whether it's Ice Rider or whatever we've got going on here. We've got the VMAX in play. He's going to go ahead and use the attack and take that KO now.
Perfect.
So he's going to go down to 4 prizes. Ryan's really on the downslope here. You know, I mean, he's still kind of locked out on the Crobat.
Yep, unfortunately, just not able to do much here.
Kind of, it's the sad shuffle we talk about.
Yeah.
So,
the shuffle I know all too well. As we just see another Houndoom go ahead and get activated here, we may actually see an attack from Houndoom just to try and say that we attacked this game.
It's just a Path to the Peak. It also just wins games though. Like there's some times that like you'll just play one and they lose. I don't know how many times I've like went up to players in between rounds. How'd your game go? They'd be like, I got Path to the Peak, you know. And it's just something you have to consider. And a lot of decks do consider it, but depending on what you draw, sometimes.
Yeah, I can't even tell you how many times in between rounds this tournament people have walked up to me and gone, they had all this, and then they had Path to the Peak. And I'm like, okay, so you lost to Path to the Peak.
This was my favorite card from the last Trooper Tour.
It was.
For sure.
It was the card that you talked about the most.
And I think there was none in the top 8, right? Or there was one?
I cannot remember off the top of my head.
But I was really disappointed it did not win the event. So.
Well, you may just get your wish.
I may. Well, see, now I have a new love, and it's Umbreon VMAX.
And that does not play well with Path to the
Peak, does not, and I understand that. I've had to make a decision, and it is pro Umbreon VMAX.
Okay, I'm on that side with you.
But
unfortunately, back to this game, we are going to see Darkness Fang from Houndoom be able to deal like 90 damage here, but Evolution Incense, again, just doing its deck thinning mode, as unfortunately it's not looking like Ryan is going to be able to get too much going here. All right, Devin going over his options again. See, it's situations like these where you really need to make sure that you're continually applying that pressure, but doing so in a way that does not allow you to, like, you don't want to mess up from this position, right? Because, like, you're looking at this game state and you're trying to not be overzealous, like I was saying earlier. You don't want to just assume, even from this position, that you're just winning.
Yep.
Because all it would take would be
like a research or something.
Yeah,
like that.
well, I mean, it's even like simple mistakes like earlier that we saw,
Yeah.
but even worse. Like if you were to like accidentally play a second supporter card or
Yep.
something here like that, because you just get so into what you're doing. I mean, that just ends up being a
Yeah.
win on the other side,
Yeah.
depending on what that happened to the game afterwards. So it's just something that you want to make sure that you're going through the motions. You're really just making sure that you are careful in your actions here.
And just continuing to play to win and not trying to play to lose is the
Yep.
other thing, right? Play to not lose. Just keep doing what your deck does. You made it this far. You know, you're in top 8. You're comfortable with it. Just keep doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing for sure.
All right, as we do see those Drizzt Isles
It's a lot.
finally.
I told you. I told you.
Yeah,
I told you.
It's almost like you're able to chain them together
Almost.
via level ball and evolution. And
Almost. It's not quite.
not quite, yeah, because then what can start happening is that Shady Dealings Inteleon can
Yep.
go ahead and find more Inteleons. So really just a fun time all around, unless you're on the other side of the table. But we do just see continuous deck thinning. Again, trying to leave those bosses in the deck, if you will. So even like a top-decked Marnie from this position would still let Devin be able to damage any Pokemon that they please.
For sure.
And there is that Melanie going to go ahead and attach a water energy from the discard pile to the active Ice Rider. And then draw 3 cards. Reminiscent of Welder from last format. Definitely not as many complaints I'm hearing about this card as I heard about Welder.
There's so much other stuff to do now.
Yeah.
Like, Welder for the first 3 months at least, I think, was just like Welder and then Sabrina's suggestion for more Welder. Like, it was,
I remember those days.
those were the dark times.
I enjoyed a Sabrina's suggestion every once in a while. Being able to grab those off Pokegear.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and see what we're able to finish off this turn with. So we are going to see an Evolution Incense grabbing that quick shooting Inteleon.
Now, not to be noted in this game, but potentially in the next one, Devin also plays Suicune V.
Okay.
So he's really like, he's got a build that he's playing 2 of those, 4 regular V for Ice Rider and 3 V Maxes.
That way you can just alternate your
whatever you're
attackers,
doing.
not always have to discard your energy like Ice Rider tends
Exactly.
to. So we do see that Houndoom get knocked out there, and unfortunately, it looks like
tower?
Okay,
we have a
We have a
Crobat.
tower.
We have hope. We have hope. I'll take it.
So it looks like we're debating on if we do Crobat now, but I like this.
I
I like earning and putting those back in a lot more to get this extra card, because we are going to need every card we can get.
Devin's doing the nervous shuffle. If you look at his hand,
Yep.
he's like,
All of a sudden, the tides have turned, maybe. Now, we do have a significant prize disadvantage here, and we have a Houndoom active, and a Houndoom is down. So there's a lot of things going against us, but we were able to go ahead and bump that path to the peak here and get the game underway at least, and see what we're able to go ahead and get going.
Research. Okay, we have a lot. We've got some play now, for sure.
Yeah, that Tower of Darkness really just opening the path, if you will,
Sure.
after going ahead and taking that path to peek out. We do see a single strike Urshifu go ahead and hit the field here.
He's got Evolution Incense. We have Boss's Orders. We've got some. We're gonna do something. You know, he's still down. I guess you could have hit a Houndour here. Would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
But we're back in the game to some extent.
Yep.
Now on Devin's side, he has 14 cards in his hand. So
That is a few.
That's something.
And it
to be
does look like we
considered. Yeah.
are researching, not Marnieing.
Well, he doesn't have a Marnie's a boss.
Oh, yeah, I understand. Yeah, it's just like we would have loved to see Marnie there to be able to go ahead and take that giant hand
Yeah.
away from Devin and firmly place that on the bottom of his deck.
You take what you can get, for sure.
You definitely do. I'm glad that we're playing cards. So we do see another single striker. Urshifu go ahead and hit the bench here for Ryan, and then a quick ball to go ahead and discard Pondering over that discard here, I'm not quite sure. Probably not that tower, because in that 14 card hand, I'm almost willing to bet there's another path to the.
Odds are, I think I saw one. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is. All right, there's one.
Yeah, even just blindly guessing, I would go ahead and just I'd feel
It's
confident.
safe to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I respect that.
All right, so we do go ahead, and Ryan just pondering these options, finally getting to play a turn of Pokemon here.
He played some turns at least one of the first 2 games.
Oh, he definitely did. Yeah, it's just at least been a while. Approximately 15 minutes. As we do see the Houndoom activate its ability to attach to that single strike Urshifu on the bench.
I don't think he has a way to get this Houndoom out though.
No, he does have
He
a
does.
switch.
He has a switch.
Switch here.
Oh, he ditched the tower.
We did ditch the tower to draw 2 with the tower. So now the thing is Path to the Peak on this board state does not actually do anything. If we don't have any more Crobats or anything to worry about, and we don't have an Umbreon in play,
he has another research.
So
he's okay.
The only things that interacts with are Crobat and Umbreon. So if we aren't going to bench an Umbreon, we don't really care if there's a path next.
He plays 4 towers too.
Well,
you know, at this point, so I think he's fine. You know, if this one goes with the research, I think he's counting. He's going to get one. He has another switch too. I mean, is that the same switch? Yeah, because he. Okay, we got this.
Yeah, we've just drawn the 2 cards there. There is that switch to go ahead and send Houndoom back to the bench, but unfortunately, we are promoting that Houndour just to try and.
Do you like their giving him Crobat, or do you think I don't want to give Houndour up, but I don't think there's really another option. Maybe Crobat to let him kill it, and then he's at 1 prize.
Unfortunately, honestly, if I'm in Ryan's position, I would be shocked in that giant hand, and especially if we're able to play a Shady Dealings Intellion, if we aren't able to just find some way to get that out and then boss and KO that Urshifu, and then just the game ends. But
so he's at 3 prizes left, right?
Yeah, the game wouldn't end, but the game would end.
Yeah. Just being down all 6 prizes is.
Yeah. So that is going to go ahead and grab that boss there, and I assume if we're able to get an air balloon on this Ice Rider. If I were a gambling man, I would say that this is for an air balloon and a boss, but. An escape rope. Okay, so that's the air balloon position there.
Nope, it was not an air balloon.
You are right.
So if you were a gambling man, that would have been red, and you would have landed on black. So
that is true.
He brought Crobat up for him.
That's
so, you know.
Sometimes that's what you got to do. So we do see that that Ice Rider get promoted. We see the attachment here. And we do see that boss.
So that is a concession.
Yeah, okay. That is going to be the end of the game there. As we do see Devin move forward.
So we have 3 of the. Let me check here and see if our other match is finished. Okay, Michael, they are in game 3.
Perfect. So that is awesome. We will go ahead and let their match resolve as it will. And we will be able to be back here shortly.
We already have it's Jamie versus Richard.
Okay,
is our top 4 match.
So we can go ahead and get them set up.
They're just gonna get set up. We should be back within 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. So
sounds like a plan. Definitely don't go away. We will be back within just 3 to 5 minutes here with the top 4 match.
We'll see you guys in just a minute.
All right, Pokemon fans, and welcome back to Trooper Tour Evolving Skies. I am James Arnold, and I am here with Stephen Durham, and we are bringing you the action for Top 4.
Top 4. So we're going to be watching Jamie play Richard. We've seen them both at this point. Shadow Rider versus Single Strike. The other game, Michael was able to win. So the other top 4 matches, Ice Rider versus Sylveon. Sylveon's Toolbox versus Ice Rider that we just saw take top 8. So 4 different decks. Very interested to see who comes out on top.
Yep.
Personally, my unbiased favorite here, or what I want to see win, is the deck that has Umbreon VMAX in it. So, and
I picked the deck with Blaziken.
Okay.
I'll accept the deck with Umbreon.
Okay. So
that's kind of where I'm at personally.
Okay.
I would love to just see any deck with Blaziken in it really just get there, but if this Single Strike deck wins, that would
couldn't be the worst thing. Richard, once again to be noted, was the finalist of our last Trooper Tour. So
maybe run it back,
maybe
or even avenge that finals loss.
Yeah, so he's definitely. I've talked to him. He wants to. Obviously, he'd like to win. He said he'd just be happy to be back in top 4. So
Yeah.
we're gonna get right into this now, and I hope between a good game for them. So
let's go ahead and hop into it. Who are you all voting for? Let us know in the chat as we hop right into things here. And it looks like our players are set up. They are ready to go.
all right,
All right, and we do see the game begin.
Umbreon. See, the best way to start a match.
Is it?
Probably not, truthfully, but we'll take what we can get.
All right. As we go ahead and see Quick Ball from Richard, go ahead and discard that Single Strike Urshifu. Not really going to be wanting to use that against the Shadow Rider.
Yeah, Richard has a very clear game plan here. And it's a lot of Umbreon.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look here.
Umbreon is my second favorite evolution. If anyone was curious,
I was.
First is Glaceon. So I'll take Umbreon in second. There's a lot going on over here.
Yeah, we do see that Single Strike energy attachment here onto that Umbreon, and we do have that Cresselia active for Jamie, and that really is reminiscent of the Volcanion that was used a lot last format, where it would go ahead and if you were to go second and it's your first turn, you're able to search your deck for 3 Psychic Energy cards and then go ahead and attach them to one of your Pokemon.
Yep.
So that really would just instantly power up a Shadow Rider to be able to go ahead and use its attack. But we do see Jamie go ahead and grab the Crobat V and an Alcremie V. All right. Players just kind of sitting here thinking about everything, making sure they're going through their actions as they should. We do see that Alcremie go ahead and hit the bench. Important that it is a Psychic type Pokemon that is not weak to Dark type. So we do see that Crobat go ahead and draw Jamie some extra cards here up till they have 6 cards in their hand.
Another Alcremie.
Yep, Alcremie gonna more than likely just be Jamie's primary way of taking prizes in this matchup, especially since I believe it is a 2/2 line that Jamie has chosen to run in his Shadow Rider list. Yes. All right, we do go ahead and see those 3 Psychic Energies able to be attached to one of those Pokemon. Would be shocked if that's not getting attached to one of those Alcremie V.
Now, how much HP does Alcremie V have? Because are we able to evolve an Umbreon VMAX here and take a knockout?
So let's go ahead and get the baby Alcremie V up on the screen here for you. So that Alcremie V should have about 210 HP. Yes, it has. So Alcremie's got the 170. It's the 310 on the VMAX. So yes, Umbreon VMAX would definitely be able to take that KO with the Single Strike energies, especially because that would just go ahead and push that over the edge.
That's really what Richard has to be wanting to do here.
For
to take
sure.
that quick lead, get those energy off the board, and just kind of put himself in a good position. Because then Cresselia can't do 3 again, correct?
Yes.
It's only on the first turn. So
yes. Yeah, we do see, yeah, from now on, Cresselia would just be an attacker that for a second energy would be able to do up to 110 damage, but this is going to go ahead and we're seeing that Houndoom ability be used on Umbreon. And
We see the Umbreon
I do see an Umbreon VMAX in Richard's hand.
Oh, buddy.
So here's your friend. Umbreon VMAX. Really,
I would say a powerhouse.
Umbreon VMAX, as we have seen it in this tournament, really the story of the tournament, if you will.
I would be willing to say that.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a breadth of decks here with so many different strategies, even different strategies within this single strike archetype. But I would argue to say that Umbreon VMAX has just been the card of the day.
Absolutely.
We do see a fighting energy go ahead and get attached to that Umbreon there. Benching another Houndour. If we could get one more Houndour or an Umbreon V into play here, I think that would just be about great. But either way, we're doing some good things because we are able to knock out that Alcremie here and take those 2 prizes and delete all those energy that Jamie had just gotten off that Cresselia.
Yeah. It really kind of puts
him... again, this just showcases the power of being able to use that Gust effect and also still use your supporter for turn.
Because he was able to draw everything he needed and also continue to set up. Like it's so powerful.
Yep. So we do see that Evolution Incense going to go ahead and search Jamie's deck for an Alcremie VMAX, get that onto that benched one so that that one does not meet the same fate as its friend. And Quick Ball going to go ahead and discard a Boss's Orders.
Grab a Crobat here. That puts him on a full bench.
It does. It does put him at a full bench, and with only the 2 Shadow Riders potentially to be able to go into play.
He does play a promo. He plays 1 promo, and I think that's what's in the active right now. And then 3 of the other from Chilling Reign.
And it's just problematic when you do end up having to be in a situation that it looks like Jamie is in right now, where you really need these couple Crobats to really get underway with this deck, and now you can't get multiple Shadow Riders into play past the ones that are here to really accelerate energy that you're having to discard with Alcremie every turn to try and get KOs. There's just a lot starting to stack up here on the list of problems. But we do see Evolution Incense here go ahead and come out for Jamie to be able to grab a Shadow Rider.
And now really what you see from Richard is with the Umbreons, he's just wanting to target down 2 more things, and take these knockouts. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. He can also, because of a Crobat being weak to Dark, is he able to do that with Houndoom as well?
So, as far as
can he 1-hit KO a Crobat with Houndoom's attack?
No, okay. Not reasonably so. No, because even with 4 single strike energies, would not be able to do that. Potentially,
I'm worried because he doesn't have another Umbreon on the bench right now, that we're going to get into a situation where he's going to have to find another attacker to finish.
So Richard going ahead and picking up Alcremie VMAX. Let's go ahead and get that brought back up one more time, because we are seeing the Adornment attack from Alcremie. And what that lets you do is that lets you search your deck for a Psychic Energy card and attach it for each one of them to each of your benched Pokemon. So you're able to go ahead and get a bunch of energy into play, absorb a hit, and then G-Max whisk all of those energies into a big KO.
I think at this point, Richard's probably fine with that, right? Like because he's not killing this Umbreon.
Yeah, not yet. Definitely going to be able to do that next turn. If I'm Richard, I'm most likely just looking to get a good hit on this Alcremie and then respond by KOing it next turn, going down to 1 prize, and then cleaning up with an Umbreon at some point, whether that be through...
And he grabbed this Umbreon. Yep. He's got both Houndooms. That's really his game plan at this point. He's going to hit it once, let him come back, take this knockout, and then finish it off and be left with this Umbreon.
Yep.
So Jamie still has a lot of play, though. There's a lot that he can do to try to mitigate that as best as possible, and there's so much left to be played, too.
Yeah.
This Alcremie is about to take... about to do some damage, for sure.
Yeah, we do see the attachment come out onto the Umbreon there from the Houndoom's ability. Looks like there's not another single strike energy in the deck to be able to be getting because Richard's not going for it with the other Houndoom ability.
Sure.
So that may be stuck in the prizes or may have been discarded at some point. But we do see the scroll go onto that benched Umbreon here. A tool scrapper to go ahead and knock off the balloon on that Shadow Rider.
Is this an air balloon? Yeah, he's debating on where to put that.
Yeah, there's a
before
balloon
that
on there because
research
we're
goes in.
just trying to use all of our cards since it looks like we're going to Professor's Research and discard our hand anyway.
We see the research, maybe. Okay.
I guess we're debating using the switch into the Crobat just to make sure that we do want to swing with the Umbreon this turn. It's unlikely that Richard would decide to not do that, but where you do, it's literally just free here to do that since you aren't going to use your retreat this turn otherwise. Yeah. So might as well just set yourself up to have that Crobat in the active and then figure out what you want to attack with later, since you're discarding that card anyway.
Yes, Tower of Darkness as well. We'll see that come in.
Tower of Darkness actually discarding a Houndour to go ahead and draw 2 there. Very, very interesting game that we've got going here. We've got a Capture Energy going ahead and being physically attached to the Umbreon as the energy for turn. And I'd be shocked, again, all of this is leading to an attack with that Umbreon, especially now that we haven't really done anything else with anything else. I mean, maybe Richard is afraid of some type of attack here, but even then, like, even with this Umbreon falling, you know that you're getting this damage and then you're going to 1 prize the next turn. You can even leave that damage there and then gust up the Shadow Rider and then have that damaged VMAX still be in play depending on how the energy discards go, because a lot of the time, especially with effects like Umbreon and other gust effects, you're really looking to target down the energy. It's not so much about the Pokemon sometimes as much as it is just clearing energy off your opponent's board, especially when you have things like this G-Max Whisk attack that we can see on Alcremie that needs just energy spread everywhere to be able to go ahead and deal that damage. Because, I mean, with the Umbreon VMAX, the thing with that is that where Umbreon VMAX has 310 HP, you still need to discard 6 energy from Alcremie in order to hit that number. Or from your board with Alcremie.
I guess it's
that number.
5 right now, right? Because he's already taken 2.
Because he has taken the 2 damage, yes. So
that's
it would be 5
amount.
here. But on a fresh one, it would be a full 6, and that's just so much.
It's a tough.
So we are looking at a board where Jamie is more than likely going to just G-Max Whisk anyway on that Umbreon, but that's still going to cost a total of 5 energy from Jamie's board. The 2 on the front, and then 3 on any way that he chooses from his benched Pokemon.
Presumably from this Crobat's one.
That one's definitely a freebie, but now we're getting rid of the Shadow Rider energy. And so there is the 5 that we need to get that KO, but now that Shadow Rider on the bench with 2 looks like a super juicy target for this Umbreon to take down next turn. Especially since that's another source of potential draw for Jamie. Just taking that out specifically, especially since the Gust is free in this situation, and you would be evolving into an Umbreon anyway. So there is that Evolution Incense. Would be shocked if this is not that Umbreon VMAX. There it is.
Really just putting him in a spot to not be able to kill the Umbreon again, and then we still haven't seen any boss's orders. You're able to bring up the Cresselia or something to clean this up, just trying to secure, and that looks to be what he's doing here. So
so there is that ability from Umbreon, that Dark Signal to go ahead and bring up Shadow Rider. Clear those energy off the board, leave Jamie with just a singular energy on a Cresselia.
It definitely is. It's still winnable for Jamie. Shadow Rider is very strong. There's still a lot left to be played for sure.
Mm-hmm. We see the capture energy be attached to the Umbreon there. The search is free since you got the free bench space anyway, even if you opt to not grab anything.
He
here.
only plays 2 VMAXs.
Okay, so this is the final Umbreon V.
So that was the last one.
That is normal for these decks to just to go with like a 3-2 line.
I think it should be like 4-4. You know, but I respect it.
We'll definitely discuss things next week at the weekly Card Trooper Games Win-A-Box on Sundays. So there's a decent chance that I may shuffle up some Umbreons next week.
The card's so good.
It's just so. I mean, you know me. Any of the EVs,
Yep.
if I can play them, I'm going to try. Like,
There's a lot
this
of
is
EV.
Clearly a very powerful card. So there is going to be another Umbreon. Now that does a couple things. Now Jamie does not know that Richard only plays the 2 Umbreon. So not only is that presenting a potential gust effect, then that goes into Jamie's head and his plays moving forward.
And he's really committing.
But we
to
can
sell
also
it.
just still attack
Yeah.
with the baby Umbreon.
And is that enough to kill Cresselia?
It would be enough to
Okay.
kill, especially with single strike energies.
Yeah.
It's going to be enough to do pretty much whatever you want from this board. So you've got that Moonlight Blade, and if it has any damage counters on it, it does 80 more damage. So that's
Sure.
160. So with one of those being the single strike energy, that's 180, and that's a Crobat with just the baby Umbreon. And of course, those damage counters get put on with Houndoom. It's almost like they want those to be played together.
Oh, absolutely. So he's going to take that, go down to the 1 prize.
Yep. So there is the prize is taken for Richard. 1 prize remains. We'll see what Jamie is able to put together and see if Jamie is able to get something going.
Training court.
Yeah, training court going to go ahead and bump that tower there. That's going to go ahead and allow Jamie to add a psychic energy from their discard to their hand, and then they can reattach that with Shadow Rider's ability to go ahead and not only get an extra energy into play, but also draw a couple cards.
And this is definitely Jamie's last turn to really reestablish a board.
Yeah, and
Try to take
unfortunately,
a look at, like-
Jamie realizes the writing is on
Yeah.
the wall there. Richard is going to go ahead and go up a game here as we go into the next game.
And I want to think that we saw this matchup earlier in the day, right? The Shadow Rider, and Single Strike won that one pretty convincingly. It's tough. Jamie did everything right in terms of really committing to Alchemy turn 1, and having the Cresselia to be able to do the Volcanion with all 3.
Yeah.
Could not have asked for a better start from himself. And then Richard just having the Houndooms to be able to take this energy away and then play that game was
Yeah.
really what ended up doing it.
Yeah, and maybe again that's another situation where if Richard isn't able to put together that extremely fast Umbreon,
Yep.
if those 3 energies that were from Cresselia were able to then be applied to it, the now Creamy VMAX the next turn, and that's an extra 180 damage that Jamie would have had access to. I promise that he could have found something to do with that.
Exactly.
And so that really just taken the wind out of his sails immediately. We could see that turn around in this game. It still is definitely a winnable matchup, even with that type disadvantage there.
All of our top 8 games went 3 games.
Yep.
So I think it's very competitive. There's a lot to do. Jamie knows what he wants to do going into this game, and I'm sure he's hoping to start Cresselia. Well, no, now he's on the if he's going
It depends.
It depends. So there's a lot to figure out.
Well,
but,
and see, Jamie has the choice on if he wants to go first or second.
and that's a tricky decision.
It really
right?
is.
Like, I
It's
think
something that a lot of players do debate, especially when you get these type of effects like Cresselia. Because, I mean, most of the time you are going to choose to go first because you want to get those Shadow Riders. You want to get those Alchremies down. You want to get them ready to go. So we'll go ahead and hop back into the game here as they are setting that up.
Let's see, and we just got news from our other game, and it looks like Michael took game 1 over Devin. So that's the Sylveon deck up a game against Ice Rider. So
be still my beating heart.
you might get what
if
you
I
want.
get an Umbreon versus Sylveon finals for Trooper Tour Evolving Skies, I may just be a happy boy.
That might just be it. It'll be Christmas here.
It already is Christmas. I'm having a great time today. It seems like the players were having a good time too. I was chatting with them between
Yep.
rounds. Everybody seems to be in high spirits. Even everybody that didn't do so hot as far as records go, really enjoying things and really. I'm just so glad that we were able to get this together once again for everybody.
I love it. We're gonna be doing it again, after Fusion Strike comes out.
Yep.
So
Yeah, definitely stay tuned. If you are not following us on all of our pages, Facebook, YouTube, everything, make sure that you're doing so because we've got a lot of exciting events coming up as we go into this game. And we do see that Jamie did choose to go first because
Yep.
you do really want to try and get those.
the other thing, what we saw, and not to cut you off,
Yeah.
but like if you are on the draw
Yeah,
and you do get to Cresselia, that's fantastic. The issue is he already has Hound Hours,
correct.
and then he's going to get to accelerate first.
It's
So-
it's very important to see who gets the first evolution because the thing is that Alcremie could have been an Alcremie VMAX
Yeah.
that can't be killed by that Umbreon
Yep.
at that point. So there's a lot of interaction between just who goes first and who goes second in these games
Exactly.
as well. So we do see that Fog Crystal going to go ahead and search out Alcremie V once again.
Yep.
All right. Richard going ahead and shuffling that up.
Yeah. So we've got the Articuno here on the bench for Jamie.
Yeah, and that was actually the card that Jamie started with was that Galarian Articuno. So what that normally does is that has one of those coming into play abilities
Yeah.
where you don't want to start with that. You definitely want to put that into play mid game and attach some extra psychic energy to be able to use with Alcremie and Shadow Rider's damage. Richard gonna go ahead and quick ball here, pitching a Urshifu.
We are on Umbreon. We've seen them.
They did-
They're ready.
Are they?
They look like it.
But have you asked them?
I
have you
did.
asked the Umbreons?
I ran out there, and
Okay.
they informed me before this game they would really like to win this one.
Did they?
They did.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first, everyone. You can't argue with the Umbreons themselves.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and see exactly which card Richard's going to get. So he is going to go ahead and have to get a curl.
I guess his hand's not great.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely happens.
Manta. Yeah.
So Richard debating using this evolution instance. There's a couple.
This
ways
is
to play
awkward. This is awkward.
In this type of situation, do you use this evolution instance and then maybe not have access to that to then find Umbreon VMAX next turn? Or do you just burn that here to draw an extra card?
Yeah, I think he was trying to. There's a lot of things you can do. I think you need it. I think you need to keep it because you don't have access to Umbreon VMAX without it, but you don't want to take that now and then not see what's going on. But you need the extra card too.
If I were in Richard's
He's not played
seat,
a supporter though. So.
see, that is where I was heading. If I was in Richard's seat, I would definitely be using this evolution instance, just getting it out of my hand, drawing that extra card, because I am much more interested in drawing a supporter this turn and then again next turn to find another evolution
If you
instance.
just draw it in the first three,
Because we see here, that was a Hound Hour and 2 bosses, and now our hand is going nowhere regardless whether we have that
Yeah.
evolution instance or not. And that's just kind of exactly what I was
Yeah.
just talking about, where maybe the next card is or isn't what we need, but
Sure.
we would be one card deeper.
yeah, and we'll find out if he doesn't Marnie. We'll see what that next card would have been,
Yeah.
and that's going to be a good talking point. He does use one of those bosses to bring up that Articuno to slow things down.
Honestly, if I saw a Crobat into a boss with no attach, there is a 0% chance I'm Marnie.
Exactly.
But there's
Oh.
a Marnie immediately. So we'll go ahead and shuffle those and put all those cards on the bottom of the decks.
I mean, if that's the only supporter Jamie had there to draw, I think maybe in this situation he's just valuing continuing his game plan. The first card was a professor's research last turn. So
Interesting.
if he would have done that, then he would have drawn the research to been able to continue. So little things like that do matter a lot. And then there's the single strike. This would have been a whole different game for sure. I can see why he didn't, but it matters so much. So, and now we have.
So
this
we're seeing the
Alcremie.
adornment from Alcremie to go ahead and get a couple psychic energy onto the benched Pokemon, one on Articuno and one onto that Shadow Rider.
A fan of the energies chosen.
I mean,
I am.
I definitely am.
If we can zoom in on those psychic energies, if we have that ability,
Oh, trust me, I definitely at any point that you want me to have the ability to put any card from the EX era on the screen. As we do see the Emerald Psychic Energy
Just taking
in all of its beauty there. Definitely a great choice of energy. My favorite era of the game for sure.
We see that split going into Richard's turn. At least he didn't damage one of the Umbreons. Has to be what Richard's thinking. All right, this could be worse. I have both Umbreon.
Yeah.
I'm going to be able to evolve into at least one.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Richard, I feel like I'm in a
you're gonna
wonderful
be able,
position.
You're going to be able
now.
to kill this Shadow Rider this turn, right? Or no?
No, because
Well,
we
you
only
missed
had the
the
one
energy,
Houndour. Since we didn't have an energy attachment on turn 1, that definitely changes things from, that one energy attachment is a game of Pokemon is like a game of dominoes, and that if one thing starts going wrong or you mess up a slight thing, it can potentially go just all the way down. Because as we see, without an energy attachment last turn, now even with our best draws, we're not able to get those Houndooms online, get a KO this turn, things like that. We do see an Evolution Incense here to go ahead and grab an Houndoom.
At this point, do you think he ends his turn by just sending a Crobat up? I think I saw a switch in his hand.
It is more than likely a Houndour, especially if we can get a third one into play. Just because then that's presenting a one-prize attacker and forcing a boss out from Jamie onto that Umbreon that has an energy attach. Sure. However, if I don't have access to another Houndour, I'm not sure that I want to do that because I really want 2 of those in play at all times so that I can hit those 3 energy attacks. So there is definitely a lot of choices going on here as far as what you kind of can afford to do. So my final call would definitely be if I can get another Houndour, I'd put that out. If I can't, Crobat's got to come out, unfortunately.
For sure. Does Umbreon have an attack for just 2 energy?
So Umbreon has the Moonlight attack. So let's go ahead and get Umbreon V back up on the screen for you here. So Umbreon V has the 3 energy Moonlight Blade. It does have a 1 energy Mean Look that prevents the defending Pokemon from retreating. So it does 30 base damage, so it would be doing 50 in this scenario. So I think part of what Richard is trying to toy with is, does that 50 damage that could go from Umbreon, does that impact any math? I don't think that it does. That would put 260 remaining HP on Alcremie.
He has 2 on there, right? 2 single strikes. It looks like.
It does look like 2.
Yeah,
yes.
so
it would be 70. So
bring Alcremie down to
240.
Okay.
I don't think that also impacts the math. So I would probably just want to leave that on the bench. Hopefully not have that be bossed next turn. We actually are just going to go ahead and see the VMAX itself go ahead and come out. I'm not sure quite what happened there, but we are going to see a retreat there into the Crobat instead.
I think Jamie said that he played that this turn, that Umbreon.
But he didn't. Jamie's going to go ahead and start his turn. We're going to see Evolution Incense there.
Devin was able to take game 2 to force a game 3. So they are going into game 3 right now.
All right, we do see that Shadow Rider Calyrex go ahead and come out from Jamie here with that Evolution Incense. All right. And we do see a Psychic Energy attachment with that Shadow Rider ability. Go ahead and draw in Jamie an additional 2 cards here. All right. And we do see Jamie just go ahead and continuing to progress that board, getting another Alcremie V with that Fog Crystal here and benching it.
If I'm Jamie, I have to be happy at this point with how this game's going for me.
For sure. Yeah. If I'm Jamie, this is definitely, if I'm going to be able to win a game here, it is
Yeah.
going to be a game that looks something like this. Definitely not calling a winner from this stage because there's
No.
definitely a lot of KOing to do. But if I'm Jamie, I'm much more confident in this game than I was at any point during last game. All right. And we see the psychic energy for the physical attachment there to Shadow Rider. And then Fog Crystal. So all of the fog this turn. Go ahead and just finish those off because we opened with one and then we've played 3 this turn.
He did research, so there's no way for him to get one of these Umbreons.
Yep.
Right. To be noted.
Yeah. With that research taking place,
It's still rough, man, because what's going to happen now?
if there could have been a boss KO on that
Yeah,
Umbreon,
that's a
this
big
is
deal.
definitely a big deal.
But we know Richard's able to evolve the Umbreon VMAX next turn because he tried to last turn. So we're going to see an Umbreon VMAX come up, pull up the Shadow Rider, and then take that KO
Yep.
and take energy off the board. Right now, there's only 4 energy. So if you're wanting to kill it back, you're going to have to empty your field.
Yep.
So, okay.
All right, and we do see that KO onto the Crobat here. So Jamie
Going ahead and removing them for him, I guess, and taking the prizes now,
Yeah.
right?
So that Crobat does fall as Richard promotes that Umbreon, and we Umbreon VMAX is coming out to play this turn,
Yep.
I promise. Immediately, we're just going to snap that onto the table there. Use the ability to go ahead and grab the Shadow Rider on the bench.
I think now they're left with 3 energy. I mean, he can evolve into a VMAX. It's going to be hard, you know. And just with Umbreon being able to do all of the work, you know, being able to evolve, pull up what it wants, and still be able to research to get what you need is a lot. We see this, the Houndoom now, right? Pulling out the single
Houndoom
strike.
going ahead and pulling out that energy here, attaching it to Umbreon. Going to go ahead and put that to 4 damage counters. I think Richard is trying to decide if the 2 damage counters here is going to change the math at all, or if he would rather attach the single strike energy in his hand and then use Houndoom's ability onto the bench to Umbreon. But the math not super relevant in this scenario, especially with only the access to 1 potential Shadow Rider VMAX going into the
And we
next turn.
see there's an urn in there with the
Yep.
research, and he's going to Marnie
Yeah,
that.
there is a Marnie going to go ahead and come out, go ahead and shuffle those hands onto the bottom of each player's deck here.
Makes sense. Jamie had just taken 2 prizes.
Oh, for sure,
He's
yeah.
really going to try to put him down on 4, kill your Shadow Rider, and then kind of make you have everything.
Yeah, because I mean, there's just a pretty decent chance that you could brick Jamie in this scenario where.
Richard's cards were great off of that. He got a Burn Tower and then 2 of the urns.
Yeah, that's and a Houndoom. So
So he's,
that is that's what we wanted to see. So. Unfortunately, there is not a single strike energy in the deck there for that Houndoom ability, since we do see all 4 on the field, but still able to use that and
check everything out. Probably shuffling his hand. His hand was not bad. So when he Marnied to get, there's a research down there.
Yep.
He's probably just wanting to get that shuffled.
Yep.
That way he can make sure that that's a potential draw.
Mm-hmm. So we are going to go ahead and see the urn get discarded to the tower to draw 2.
Capture.
Richard preparing for this this inevitable KO on that Shadow Rider here. Making sure that there's no other final actions they would like to take, and we do see that knockout take place. Jamie's going to go ahead and promote Alcremie, draw a card for turn. Let's see what Jamie's hand looks like. And that is kind of...
You
do see a Shadow Rider, but the problem with putting that into play is we are 1 Umbreon VMAX or Boss's Orders away from the game ending.
Now Richard did go down to 2 prizes with that last KO because he killed the VMAX of that, right? It looks like he just has 2 left. No, because he wouldn't have. Yeah.
Yeah, Richard should be at 3, I believe.
Let's see. Alcremie VMAX.
Because it was just the Shadow Rider is the only KO this game. So we do see that Evolution Incense going to go ahead and just shuffle Jamie's deck here.
It's kind of the same situation. You see.
Yeah, shuffle my Marnie cards back.
You see that, and then on Richard's side right now, 2 Houndooms, an Umbreon ready, Yeah, I don't know. You know, he's going to look to promote this Articuno, but because Umbreon can just bring up what it wants, the second he played that Shadow Rider VMAX, he kind of laid it out there. So, what is the attack for?
So we actually are going to see that Gmax
Okay.
Whisk to go ahead and bring Jamie down to that single prize left with that Alchemy. For the viewers at home, Galarian Articuno does have an attack, discard all Psychic Energy, and it does 120 anywhere on the board. So
Sure.
you could use something like that to go ahead and like snipe one of those Houndooms
Sure.
potentially, or Houndour especially, because Houndoom unfortunately has a bit too much HP with that 130.
All of that and 130 HP.
It really does it all.
Yep.
All right, we do see a Capture Energy being attached to this Umbreon here. Can Richard get an Umbreon VMAX? Because that will just be lights out.
Does he have a research in his hand?
I unfortunately I haven't been able to see all of Richard's cards in hand yet, but
I
we will
don't
see. Now the other thing
I
is,
don't know if he has a VMAX.
access? Like,
I think the VMAX is prized. When we looked through his deck, we didn't see it. He's able to kill it anyway.
Well, we would need a boss's orders because we aren't able to kill this
Yeah.
Alchemy anyway. That Umbreon would just do both.
Yeah, I don't see a VMAX here.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look here. We should be sounding a little better now as we see Richard go ahead and just see what plays that they can make.
He's really trying to thin to just
thin to
tower
try
here,
and get
right.
those. All right.
Hopefully you can hear a little better now.
Yeah. We do see that single strike Urshifu go ahead and come out. Just again, Richard attempting to thin the deck here. Can Richard find an Umbreon VMAX or potentially a boss's orders?
He's done a lot of thinning to try to ensure that he can here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it looks like the draw card we're using is just this single strike tower. So we are going to see the Tower of Darkness find an Earn and a Capture Energy. So that those are not Umbreon VMAXs or ways to find them.
And the downside here is where Richard does adjust his game plan to just be on Umbreon. You're running a 3-2 line.
Exactly.
So if one is prized and you take 3 prizes and you didn't hit it, you're left in a situation where you need a lot more.
Yeah, and see, the thing is this is just the type of situation where Jamie could potentially run away with the game. We've got one prize left on Jamie's side. If Jamie is able to piece together a KO on anything, it's going to just be lights out, and we will go to game 3. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what Jamie's able to put together, since Richard was not able to put together the optimal turn for him. Looks like we are going to see that Moonlight Slash from Umbreon. Moonlight Blade, my apologies.
It's going to do 160, 180,
200.
200 total.
Yep, 160 base with the 2 single strike energies. We are going to see the Training Court replace that tower here.
See, I think a research. Is that a research in Jamie's hand?
Yes, so we are seeing a quick ball here, discarding a Psychic Energy. See if that fetches anything. Looks like we are going to go ahead and just fail that one.
He definitely doesn't want to research here because he'd love to just boss up.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, the thing is with the few energy that Jamie has access to in play, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what attack Jamie's even able to get together this turn. Especially in addition to using some kind of boss's orders.
Because he did discard those 2 off of the Calyrex last time, right? To take the KO on the Crobat. So
Jamie is going ahead and debating benching something. I did not get a good look at that. But we do see a Psychic Energy get attached to the benched Alcremie, and then there's a Crobat.
Okay.
So we are going to go ahead and draw 5 here.
No boss's orders.
No boss's orders there. So we do see that Shadow Rider. Now we do get Training Court. Going to go ahead and pick up a Psychic Energy.
So he
And
still
then,
has some.
yeah, we're going to be able to use Energy Recycler here. So that's actually going to go ahead and shuffle 5 Psychic Energy back into the deck.
Will make his chances to get Boss's Orders a little harder, right? With a smaller deck, adding 5 cards like that.
Definitely will. All right. Let's see what game plan Jamie can put together. We do see that second energy be attached
He
there
drew
with
2
Alcremie's ability. There's the 2 energies, so there's an energy attached to Alcremie. You can see we could just see a KO on the Umbreon. If we get a switch card here.
Yeah. 4, 5, 6, 7.
Looks like we did not get a switch card, which means that Jamie is going to actually lose the game here, as that Umbreon can take the KO on that Alcremie.
That'll do it.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us back in the booth here. I am James Arnold with Stephen Durham, and what a game.
It was crazy.
It really was.
We've not seen a lot of like blatant like prize issues, you know, where you don't have it or whatever, you can't get to it. Richard almost had to go to game 3 there, you know, and Jamie had a lot of opportunity there. We saw him, you know, energy recycler back. Could that have mattered? Ultimately, maybe, but he was able to chain 2 together. It was definitely a close game.
It definitely was. I mean, it's things like that where even when the matchup seems very one-sided, and even if Richard did end up taking the win there, we did see a back-and-forth game where Jamie definitely had a chance there, given certain things going a little bit differently on those draws.
Richard does advance to the finals again.
Yep, so Richard is his back-to-back finalist at least at Trooper Tour.
And so he did fall the last one. He got 2-0'd the last time, so hopefully... I'm sure he's hoping to do better this time, but
for sure.
They're in game 3 on the other top 4 match already, so we'll be back very shortly with the finals, where somebody's going to win $1,000. So
I'm pretty excited. Are you excited?
I'm excited. I'm excited.
All right.
Hopefully you get what you want. Sylveon versus Umbreon.
Sylveon versus Umbreon would be a fantastic day for
I'll take Ice Rider Suicune as well versus this deck. I think both of these matches will be fun, and we'll see what happens.
Sounds like a plan. Well, we will be back shortly with more action, everyone. Stay tuned.
We'll see you guys in a minute.
Welcome back, Pokemon fans!
Collectors, hobbyists,
Everyone involved.
everyone.
Anyone who is out there, thank you all so much for choosing to spend your day, evening,
night.
everything
Yeah.
with us. I am James Arnold. This is Stephen Durham. We are Card Trooper Games, and this is the finals of Trooper Tour Evolving Skies.
We did it. 7 rounds of Swiss, top 8, top 4, single strike Urshifu with Umbreon VMAX versus Ice Rider with Suicune.
Yep.
Both good decks, both strong. We knew that going in. We got Richard Sepulveda in his finals again. He finaled the second last one.
finals appearance.
Devin in his first. So one of them is going to win this trophy and then $1,000. So I think we should. I'm excited. I've waited 3 months for today.
I really
So
have as
I'm
well.
ready to get into this.
Are you now? I know you want Umbreon to win. Do you think Umbreon will win?
I do.
Okay.
I think that I just think that deck's so strong.
Yeah.
I don't. We've seen Ice Rider take wins though. I think that he just has to set up. But I think if he sets up fine, I think that he's the favorite. I will say this: last time there was a decline split. They played for $1,000 to first, second to 200 to second. The no split. Richard lost that game. So he felt kind of bad and still stings. He was telling me about it before. So we were deciding they were going back and forth if they wanted to split. Richard was still kind of wavering, and Devin looked him right in his eyes and said, "I'll make it very easy for you. Let's just play." I like that attitude. I like the confidence. You made it this far.
You have to want it.
Yeah.
And that shows me that Devin wants
He does.
it. I'm picking Devin as the winner.
All right.
We'll see what happens. We'll see who
excited.
wins. Let's go ahead and jump into this game, everyone, as we get into the finals of Trooper Tour Evolving Skies. All right, we see this game loaded up here with Devin on the left and Richard on the right. We do see that Ice Rider as the starter there, and Sobble going ahead and entering the bench for Devin.
A Crobat start for Richard is probably not ideal.
Not ideal, definitely, especially where Richard only runs the one Crobat V. So definitely by far his worst starter. Not a game loss from this position at all, especially just I see a professor's research. We're good.
Yeah.
But obviously out of the options of Houndour, Urshifu, Umbreon, or Crobat, I know who I don't want to start with. So we are seeing Devin go ahead and getting set up here while we do level ball, quick ball, set up these Sobbles on the bench to be able to evolve moving into the next turn. And it's very interesting because if Devin is aware that Richard only runs like the one Crobat,
Yeah.
then outside of Umbreon turns, Path to the Peak really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting how a game can just change, like we saw earlier with the Path to the Peak against Adam. But we do see a second Sobble enter the battlefield here. And we do see that Drizzile in hand so that Devin will be able to go ahead and get everything started next turn.
It's kind of where you want to end up. You got 3 cards left. We got a Drizzile, Inteleon, and a VMAX. So no energy attachment here, but
yeah.
Richard
And we
has a
do
good
see
turn.
Richard go ahead and start his turn.
lot of thoughts here.
Yeah.
He has a tower. He's got quick ball. He's got a research, evolutions, incense. You know, there's a lot to do. Gonna discard the peers for that.
All right. Let's see here.
He's going through it again. I think we saw both Umbreon VMAX this time. It's hard to see exactly. But
Yeah, well, definitely Richard checking his deck, making sure, again, this is the final match of the tournament. Definitely don't want to rush anything. We don't want to see any type of misplay like that. We want to make sure that each player is making the best plays to their ability and just see what we are able to do and who's able to come out on top.
looks like we've finalized the decision here. And for the Burn Tower. Not the Burn Tower. I want it to be Burn Tower so bad. Tower of Darkness.
The Tower of Darkness. So Evolution Incense going to search Richard's deck here.
Grabbing an Umbreon VMAX. He's counting the Umbreons again, just making sure. Right, you saw 2.
Definitely understand. Wanting to make sure that we know exactly what we have access to for the rest of the game. As we see Devin going ahead and checking out Piers there, just so they know what that does moving forward. Piers, of course, being a one of the more interesting supporters in Standard, actually. Doesn't see a ton of play, but has gained a lot of utility moving into this Standard format compared to the last few, where you're able to search for any dark Pokemon. So where that can also grab Evolution dark Pokemon like Umbreon VMAX, but also grab Crobat during the setup phase of the game. Piers has gained a lot of utility with with the release of Evolving Skies and rotation of a lot of the more powerful cards from last season.
No, we did discard these Umbreon VMAX.
Yeah, so the thing is here, we definitely are able to utilize Urshifu in a way that we haven't been able to see Richard do in a while, since Urshifu can kind of do a lot more of the heavy lifting in this matchup, similar to how we saw Urshifu handle the Victini matchup.
Yeah. I'm sure Richard's probably more comfortable getting back to...
I definitely am more comfortable, because while I do think that if I was Richard, I would feel comfortable in the Shadow Rider matchup, things can go, like, I'm not having to worry as much about that race in the same way, because for the majority of the time, these players are going to be 2-hit KOing their attackers and single-hit KOing any type of support Pokemon.
Sure.
Whereas you were looking at between Alcremie and the weakness on Shadow Rider on both sides, you're looking at both players being able to one-shot things.
Absolutely. So we see a pass and evolve to Ice Rider VMAX here.
Yep, Drizzile. And there's that Drizzile going ahead and search Devin's deck for any trainer card. I mean, if I would have guessed at the beginning of the day that Drizzile would be the story of the tournament, and I mean, you could definitely still make that argument. We've seen plenty of Drizzile all day, but that's definitely the more expected. Not that we didn't expect Umbreon VMAX, it's just there's been a lot at the top tables today.
For sure.
We do see a water energy attachment to that Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX.
And then a research. Discarding the Quick Shot Inteleon. And I think he only plays one of those. No, he plays two of the
He does have two of the quick shooting and then one of the Sword and Shield Shady Dealings ones. Drizzile really making a name for itself in the format from the get-go.
Well, it's such a diverse format, being the best enabler. You know?
It's just so funny because we did start seeing Drizzile pop up in a lot of decks as soon as Chilling Reign was released with the Sobble and the Inteleon, but really needed to just get that rotation to happen so it didn't cost 2 prizes.
Yeah.
Amongst other associated issues. But we do see Quick Ball here. Going ahead and being grabbed with that Shady Dealings ability.
And this is the normal big turn we see from Ice Rider. If they got multiple Sobbles down, the next turn is really thinning, setting up, and just establishing what their game plan is going to be for the rest of the game and hoping just to Melanie the rest of the way, right?
It's so crazy because Drizzile really just sets you up in any way that you want, and then you have these Drizziles left over, and like that would kind of be the cost, right? It takes up this bench slot, and then it doesn't really do anything, but all of the Inteleons do such magnificent things for all of these decks' game plans that they aren't just dead weight on your bench. They all continue to progress your game plan moving forward.
That's been the historical downside of these utility stage ones. Is like you do that, and now what? You know, now you're limited. But them having such upside at the stage 2, it makes it all better. And I think really shows why it's so prevalent in all these decks.
Yep.
We see Devin searching here.
Going ahead and grabbing another Drizzile. And it really is the combination of Level Ball and Evolution Incense both being able to put together
Yeah.
both Drizzile, but also the Level Ball finds the Sobbles too. Evolution Incense always finds whatever your attacker is in all the Inteleon decks. So it really just comes together as this cohesive engine that's a lot of fun.
And you just pass there. We see a quick ball draw. That's pretty good. We should be able to see an attack here. Well, if he can switch out, right? That's going to be the biggest thing is this Crobat sitting there.
Yeah. Neither player having made any type of attack this game, so we are seeing Richard debate if he wants to discard that card to the Tower of Darkness, and it does look, yeah, when it's an urn,
It's hard.
You're never sure. Like, I mean, if you need the draws, then yeah, I'm all about it. Or if you're just discarding it anyway, like I see, looks like we may be leading towards a Professor's Research as our supporter for turn, but getting rid of urns at any point just always
hurts.
You definitely feel it.
Especially in a game like this where it's not all one shots, and you're going to be going back and forth.
We are going to need to just continuously have access to energy after energy. I mean, we are dealing with 3 prize Pokemon on both sides, so the game, when we do start taking KOs, will end up ending in a reasonable time frame. But this setup phase between these giant VMAX decks is very reminiscent as a modern day equivalent of a lot of what the game was for a long time, where these players are both setting up their strategy slowly over time, progressing their boards for an end game state, and just really just making sure that they're trying to get big boards.
And Richard's natural advantage in this matchup is that he's playing a one-shot game, right? Like, and you have Devin trying to play a 2-shot game.
Yep.
So while this does appear slower and we don't hit for weakness, you still have that inherent advantage. But like Drizzile adding so much consistency matters so much, for this. And we'll see how this shakes up, especially this turn. This is another one of those big turns that, like, if it all goes right, we can hit this switch. Maybe, I mean, it's going to be much better for him than if he doesn't.
For sure. And we do see that capture energy get attached to Urshifu there to find that second Houndour. And so that moving forward, you really want to keep 2 Houndooms into play. Like, obviously, if the game progresses in a way where you can get more out, that's great. But 2 is really what you're looking for a lot of the time, because you want to be able to consistently provide a 3 energy attacker.
Now, while that was a necessary research, right, to keep going, it should be noted that he did discard a Boss's Orders, a Houndoom, and an Air Balloon, I think. So all good discards. I don't see if he hit a switch here.
I'm not quite sure there. I do see the that single strike Urshifu VMAX in hand. And we do see that come into play there.
I don't see. Yeah, he did not.
Yeah, so it looks like Crobat is going to be hanging out with Ice Raider Calyrex and hoping that it forgets to attack next turn. But we're going to go ahead and see Evolution Incense, it looks like, from Richard, debating playing that now or holding it for next turn. But okay. I do believe that's the closest you can get to not playing a card.
We need like a table, like a line.
Yeah, so
going flat across.
There is a pass to Devin.
Yep.
Gonna hold that Incense for next turn. All right, let's see. We are seeing that Drizzile come out, and now that's the thing, right? We do build towards that Inteleon game plan, but once those Drizzile slots are gone, you don't have a Sobble in play.
Yeah.
It can get a little dicey because you get used in these early turns. You get used to, I can just search my deck for anything that I want, and then something bad happens. You don't have any more Sobble slots, and you're like, I can't.
Yeah.
And that definitely can happen. So we do see the Shady Dealings in Inteleon. So that's the progression of Drizzile there. It goes ahead and searches. I'm so sorry. When you evolve, it goes ahead and searches your deck.
You did it.
I did. Somehow got through that sentence. Searches your deck for any 2 trainer cards and puts them into your hand.
He's gonna grab a bucket.
A bucket and a path.
That's the name
That
of my
a
next
bucket,
album.
a path, and a dream. So we do see those 2 energies go to Devin's hand with that capacious bucket. We see that manual attachment to the active Ice Rider.
I have not seen Devin play a Suicune yet.
Yeah.
Like we've seen him on camera, but it just never ends up like coming out at all. Just something to note. You know, maybe he's leaning more towards that Ice Rider and keeps.
It definitely seems like he just enjoys attacking with it.
Yeah. Doing some math here. Now, what exactly is the VMAX's attack?
So the Ice Rider VMAX, let's go ahead and get that up for you. That Pokemon is extremely interesting because while Ice Rider is inherently attempting to play the 2-prize game, the Ice Rider VMAX can play the one hit.
Yeah.
And that really is interesting because it goes up to 250 as far as the attack goes. So, like, you can KO a healthy amount of, like, you can get Zacian, you can KO a lot of these healthy Vs. You're not KOing any VMAXs with that, unfortunately. I mean, outside of, like, weakness. But we did see that damage go ahead and hit Urshifu here. Just opting to do the Ride of the High King attack to not discard our max Lance energies.
Yeah.
Because you are doing that 2-hit KO plan, a lot of the time you are able to hit with that Ride of the High King, and then next turn just discard your energies on your Ice Rider that would be falling the following turn anyway.
Devin kind of limited on like what he could have done that turn. You know, like in a way you brought it up and you hit it, and you couldn't have killed it. But you also did Richard a favor. He didn't have the switch. So now he gets to come up and then take this knockout to go up on prizes. And it's the same board state, James, we keep seeing where it's an attacker with 2 Houndooms on the bench. And you can't kill them all at the same time. So it's this. I mean, we've seen it. You know, we've seen Richard do this time and time again. There's not a lot you can do other than try to be fast. You know, and Ice Rider is like we saw Devin set up fine. There's a lot left to be played. You know, we've seen Richard miss cards, but he's building his state, and I think he knows what he wants to do. And with the Umbreon on the bench too, he can just pull up what he needs. He doesn't need boss's orders unless the path is gone. Yeah. Right. So that's what I think. If I'm Devin, there's so much
going on. Yeah. I mean, if you just like take every thought that you had in that one thing and then just run that through Richard's head as well. It's just crazy the amount of interactions that are taking place in this format. I'm so excited moving forward to see how this format progresses as we see Devin go ahead and read that Scroll of Scorn.
And if you guys are familiar throughout the day, basically it gives the Pokemon attached to it an attack that does 10 plus the amount of damage counters on it. The old Outrage.
We have seen the old Outrage attack be relevant for quite some time today. So there's the Scroll of Scorn there with that Furious Anger attack.
Still haven't seen it used.
Still haven't seen it used. Well, we saw it used once.
To lose a game.
But let's go ahead and see here. There's the Marnie.
It looks... I don't see much on Devin's side. I see a path, Tool Scrapper, Energy.
A Tool Scrapper, and Ice Rider.
It's the same thing.
And
like
it's just what I was talking about where we don't have any Sobbles now.
Yeah.
We don't have that out to the Drizzile engine to go ahead and restart and search our deck for anything. So
he's just really hoping.
We don't have a Melanie. We don't have anything going. So it's gonna really, and we've also used the Shady Dealings in Teleon even. So even drawing an out
Evolution
to
Incense or something.
Does not get us there. Now, again, that doesn't mean that Devin's out, but it's just that's the situation that we're in that we were discussing.
You're always a research away. All right. Most of the time, you're a research away.
You are sometimes a research away, for sure.
All right.
And we are going to see that G-Max 1 blow. 270, 290, 310.
Take the KO here. Capture Energy, Houndour, and Single Strike V as the prizes drawn. So Richard's going to go down to 3 prizes now.
All right. All right, and we do see that Melanie here going to reattach that energy to Devin. Devin's, well, not to Devin, but to his Ice Rider. Yeah, what a top deck there.
We've seen crazier at the Trooper Tour.
Yeah.
But that is a good one.
That definitely was a good one. I'm so desensitized after that research off the prizes in that Victini game earlier. But quite a top deck here to fix that hand, huh? As we are going ahead and counting the benched Pokemon here. Definitely a question that prompts, oh, so you play Suicune.
Tell me you play Suicune without telling me you play Suicune.
Yeah, that Marnie from that Devin, those 4 cards that Devin was dealt was not going to get us anywhere, but that top deck Melanie.
And that's the thing too, like we can talk about all, his deck's not very large now. Like he's thinned it out a lot. So while you can get stuck and not have action, your odds are better because you do work through a lot of it. It's still pretty lucky, but it is what it is.
And we do see Devin take the KO in return on that single strike Urshifu VMAX. So let's see. Richard's got to find some urns for sure. So I'm sure that's what we're gonna see. So yeah, there's 2 of the energies going back in.
He seems confident in his hand motions.
Yeah,
I think he feels like he's.
I feel pretty good if I'm Richard in this position. Still, there's no way that Ice Rider can go ahead and KO that Urshifu. I can get a good attack in on that. I can also power up Umbreon if I have access to that right now. Yeah, the quick shooting not we haven't really seen a whole lot of quick shooting like be super relevant in most decks today. Not to say that the card is bad or anything, obviously. I mean, we've seen what it's capable of doing. But it is interesting that it has not really been like, oh, that's the card that did that.
Yeah, exactly. Similar to Zigzagoon doing that 10 damage and picking it. Like it's cool sometimes.
And it definitely like some decks need that. Like,
what's the same thing with Ludicolo we said? If you're committing to 2-shotting everything.
Yeah.
If you're not going with that game plan, sometimes it just doesn't make sense to play those cards.
Yep. Yeah, as we see Richard go ahead and bench down another single strike Urshifu. And Richard's hand not really doing much, unfortunately.
Ran out of gas there.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the inherent problems with this deck is while you do have that engine of the Houndooms, unlike something like the Flaffy Rayquaza deck that's just able to, the Rayquaza can continuously draw cards, this deck does not have any kind of draw power. It has a lot of great attack power, the Umbreon providing those gust options, Houndoom providing those energies, but Houndoom does require some type of upkeep. I mean, you do have to continuously have those urns and then still draw into cards. So,
and we see a boss here, but
we've seen quite a lot of sad bosses today, honestly.
Debating where to put these energies.
Yeah, definitely wanted to put them somewhere, but not quite sure since we can't really get to an attack that we want to use. We also have to make sure that we don't like overdo damage and then also play around that quick shooting, actually allowing Ice Rider to then KO, because we are putting 2 damage counters if we put them up front. So if we see like 4 damage counters here and then quick shooting and then another quick shooting put 4, we could see Ice Rider potentially take a KO here. So there's a capture energy. And we are going to go ahead and switch here, actually. Going to try and hide that for next turn. Yeah, because, I mean, really, Richard is just trying to get in with one more big attack there, clean up those 3 prizes, knock that out cleanly again with 3 single strike energy.
Is he going to try to boss his orders here as well?
Yeah, I think you try and boss his orders one of the Inteleons. The problem is everything only has 1 retreat anyway, so we do just see the quick shooting onto there. That's going to put that on 8 damage counters. which is going to leave that with 250 HP. We see Scoop Up Net picking up that Inteleon. Now we can evolve into that Shady Dealings Inteleon, search our deck for 2 trainer cards. I bet you one is a boss. Yep, there it is. And that is going to be the game as we pick up the KO with perfect math on that single strike Urshifu VMAX. So Devin taking the win there.
Going up 1 game.
Going up 1 game in the Trooper Tour in the finals against Richard.
I think he's getting war flashbacks right now.
I definitely am.
to the last time. He's on the play.
Yeah.
Healers.
A lot of interesting decisions taking place today, for sure. Bring it back to the booth here while they get set up, but we're having a lot of fun. I mean, this is quite the interesting matchup. It's just so cool seeing like that perfect math because I mean, we literally talked about how quick shooting wasn't super relevant all day, and then we immediately saw it be the reason that we got exact math and the perfect KO there. So it is definitely interesting to see how that turns out. I mean, we knew that card had seen it. We just hadn't personally gotten to see that math work out. But it not only was it the 2 damage that turn, but it was the 2 damage the prior turn to go ahead and set that up.
And it is like situational. A lot of people just run 1 to keep it, and they'd rather have more Shady Dealings. But in this situation, it definitely worked out. Yep. So Richard down a game, going into game 2. I'm getting flashbacks. I am.
Yeah,
I believe him. I believe they can do it.
So here's my thing. After that, I was pretty confident because Devin just wants it so bad.
Sure.
But Devin wanted it so bad that he willed a Melanie off the top of his deck.
That's true.
When he was in, like, heart of the cards.
Yep,
like,
he was in rough shape.
Yeah, and so, honestly, I think...
You think a 2-0? Or do you think we go to 3?
I think it's Devin's day.
You think 2-0?
And that's nothing against Richard. Richard
has
played great.
We've
seen him. This is the 2nd finals appearance.
Yep.
But I just think that sometimes it's your day, and... Devin's having a day.
Man, he is.
So we'll go ahead and hop back into the game here. The players should be getting set up. All right. And yeah, I'm just so excited to see which card is going to go ahead and win the tournament. Will it and let us know in chat, everybody, do you think now is it going to be Ice Rider or is it going to be Urshifu Umbreon?
Or do you think there's just going to be a game 3?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, just
what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I think we go to game 3.
I mean, that's definitely likely Richard getting to choose who goes first or second here. I mean, the matchup's not bad or anything. But I do think that Ice Rider just has the day here. But we will see. Good luck to both of the players.
Yeah, let's get to it. Richard's ready.
Yeah, Richard's like all right. All right,
we found Suicune.
Richard on the brink of elimination. Let's see if he can put it together. Richard's ready. See, now Richard wants it.
Yeah,
you can tell. Pep in the step. Oh, we're seeing some people say the reverse sweep is incoming.
The reverse sweep.
Let's see it, everybody. Let's see that quick ball discard this air balloon. Well, maybe. Going after the urn, actually. So, quick ball discarding urn. We are going to search our deck for any basic Pokemon.
I didn't see a research or anything.
Yeah, we're definitely heading towards a Crobat here. Get that into play real quick. And, oh, look, Suicune has finally made a reappearance.
A reappearance.
It forced into play.
I think that you willed Suicune into this tournament.
I wanted it there. That's what I wanted. So there's Suicune. I'm super excited. We are going to see that. Yeah, Ice Baby.
Yeah, there's locally a large crowd that really believes in Ice Rider.
Yep.
So.
Nice.
I've been keeping up with Richard most of the day because we talked. I mean, where he was a finalist the last time after the event was over, we talked a lot. He's had a good time today. I mean, he started 5-0. He double drew in. Technically undefeated on the day. He could definitely, you could see the little bit of scared though.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Richard just like activated super mode.
Yeah, he did.
You could just see it by the way he was playing that quick ball. Richard, it means business right now. As we do see that attached energy up front, that Crobat going to draw 5 cards there. All right, as we do see a pretty good hand here.
A research.
Yeah, we've got the
All
tower
right.
here. We've got a research. We've got more basic Pokemon. We're going to discard that Umbreon here.
Super mode.
All right. And we do see a pass from Richard there. So
That was a
now,
confident pass,
yeah,
too.
no,
He goes, "You're up."
I mean, I feel pretty confident in that board as well. I mean, the only thing that I would have liked to gotten down there that's not there is a second Houndour. Outside of that, I think that's just about as good of a turn as you can get.
For sure. Is Suicune bad in this matchup?
So it's not that it's inherently bad in this matchup. It's that it depends on the route that you take the prizes. So what can end up happening if you attack with Suicune in this matchup, you can two-shot an Urshifu or an Umbreon.
Sure.
But you definitely can get one shot in return, especially by Umbreon.
Yep.
Because an Umbreon with 3 of the single strike energy on it is just going to KO that Suicune for the 220. So that opens up a one-hit KO option on a 2-prize Pokemon. So let's say that we KO that. Then all we need to do is KO 1 Ice Rider and then any of the Inteleon line. And then we're looking at 6 prizes taken. So I don't think that Suicune is bad in this matchup. I think that Devin has just seen that if Devin is very confident, it seems, in the 2-hit KO versus 2-hit KO match that takes place in this. So I am interested to see exactly how Devin navigates this matchup since he was forced to have a Suicune in play this game. And we do see that water energy attachment here. And what
is that only that one Sobble? This is he has a research.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing here is if we had access to something like a Quick Ball, to be able to discard one of those water energies, that would have been such a big deal.
He didn't want to show Richard. He goes, "I'm going to set all these down. Don't worry about all of these Inteleon I just threw away." And Richard's like, "Go ahead,
those?
Yeah, go ahead and let me check that out real quick." It's a good hand. And you look at like what we talk about now. Your Drizzles later.
It's just the thing is if Devin in this situation had been able to like get a water energy into the discard pile and use Melanie as the first supporter for the game to then attack with Suicune this turn and get damage on that Umbreon before it's an Umbreon VMAX, this game would be, in my opinion, very heavily favored for Devin.
We have a Quick Ball now to get an Ice Rider.
Yeah, and so we are going to go ahead and just set up normally. Richard is going to be able to get a pretty good attack off here, it looks like, next turn before Devin really has their board set up.
Yeah, Richard's hand's stacked right now. He's ready to go in. He's just waiting at this point. He's like, whenever you get you let me know, and I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm going in.
Because we're not getting 2-0'd this time. In his mind, he's not doing it again.
Oh, I mean, just think about it. You're on the brink of elimination in the second one. I mean, I can only imagine the nerves right now. But we saw Richard be able to turn that into quite the turn one. Devin trying to respond with an equal turn one.
Richard checking all angles of his cards to make sure he does have everything he needs.
Yep. We see the Drizzile go ahead and get searched out by Devin.
Do you like that level ball there? Or do you think that, like, it's just a
I'm
waste
not quite
of it,
sure what we're doing that for, if it's Drizzile. So, I mean, there's so many different things here. I mean, I don't know the contents of Devin's deck. Maybe that level ball was intended for a Sobble. They're both, the 2 other ones are prized. There's things that could have happened there. I don't really see the need to use that level ball here because putting a physical Drizzile on the bottom of my deck if I do get Marnied is not going to be exactly what I want. All right, Richard going ahead and doing some math here, making sure that he's making all of the plays possible to try and take home this win and bring us to a nail biter game 3.
Game 3. We've never had a game 3 in the finals. So I believe, I will not speak as to what will happen in game 3.
Sure.
But I told you, I'm confident. I'm confident in Richard
getting
this to a third game.
So Richard going ahead and just thinking through this attachment, really wanting to make sure that it's the right one.
Capture energy
So
here.
It does look like we're going after the capture energy instead of the single strike. The problem, of course, here being you cannot get 3 single strike energy onto that Umbreon VMAX this turn, especially.
Yeah.
So the extra damage not really going to do anything here, even if we are able to attack this turn.
Really just trying to get these double Houndoom
Say,
stats.
I need to see some Houndours. For those at home that may just be tuning in or anything that are not aware, Houndoom really the pivotal card in this matchup. We've talked about it all day. Really getting its time to shine in this rotation and the release of Umbreon.
Yeah.
Really powering that card up. We do see the Tower of Darkness discard that single strike energy to draw 2.
Earn 1 back here.
Yep. I think we're heading towards that research anyway, so just some sequencing there to go ahead and make sure that single strike energy is in the deck as well, which was another reason to not attach that since the extra damage does not matter there. Being able to utilize that earn, put that back in the deck, yep. Very good play by Richard.
I don't know if you forgot, but he is in super mode.
Yeah, I did not forget. No, I can tell. I can tell from the look in his eyes that I can't see.
If I could see his eyes,
you could tell from the look in them.
I could tell. Yeah,
that sounds about right. Counting all the bench spots, wanting to make sure that Richard was debating using that quick ball prior to the research, but did not want to fetch anything, and then have a 5th bench Pokemon, I think. So there's the Umbreon. Going to see if we use that ability or not. We are going to use it to bring up that Ice Rider. So Richard looking to just play that 3-prize game here. Evolution Incense. Likely finding, single strike.
I just picture Richard staring into Devin's eyes when he's shuffling right now.
I would be.
He's just looking at it.
Just the cold glare. The cold glare of, I want my money.
The cold glare of, you said no splitting.
Yep.
You didn't let me make it.
You said no split and then top deck Melanie.
The audacity, really.
All right, and we see that attack from Umbreon going ahead and doing 180 damage to Ice Rider. Again, in my opinion, Umbreon, the story of the tournament. It's definitely cool seeing Drizzile face off against Umbreon, as that just really has been the meta for the day.
I think it's just a good showcase of Pokemon.
It really is.
You see both sides. You see what all the Drizzle decks are trying to do. You see what the non-Drizzle decks are doing. You've got to be strong enough to compensate for the fact that you don't have Drizzile. And this deck definitely is.
Yeah. Richard definitely going the Brawn approach, Devin going the options approach. All right, Devin evolving into that Ice Rider VMAX. And then the Drizzile here. Let's see what Devin is getting here. If you're Devin, what are you searching for with this Drizzile?
Man,
it's got to be a Melanie, right?
Yeah, I mean, because you have to. You brought it up. Like, yeah. You're the one that evolved into VMAX here. You've got to do something.
Well, I mean, with it active, you've got to do something anyway. And also, I'm not sure what Devin's got as far as switching cards here left in deck, but it looks like Air Balloon, and there's a single Air Balloon is the only real way to move that out anyway, and I believe that was used already.
Yeah, it could have been that big handy discarded too. Was there a lot of Umbreon? There was.
There was a lot of Umbreon. I mean, Umbreon Urshifu was the most played deck in the event, and then also had 2 spots in the top 8, along with Suicune being one of the most played decks, and then it also having 2 variants of Suicune in the top 8.
And we talked about, though, earlier when we did our meta report of the day, the top 4 decks took, I want to say like 48% of the meta, I think. So it was very diverse. Umbreon was the most popular deck. Umbreon, single strike.
Yeah, there was a straight Umbreon deck. We did actually feature that on camera. They were playing a 1/1 Galarian Slowking VMAX line. It was very interesting. And as far as Rapid Strike Urshifu, Rapid Strike was definitely played by a few people. It was not popular. We did see one do well.
Yeah, one was on a bubble match,
I think it ended up 9th or 10th.
Yeah. They finished X2 because it was a clean cut. We had 4 6-1s and then 4 502s. So they were able to. Nobody missed in this fortunate, which is great.
All right, as we see Devin going ahead and just forming out this turn, would be shocked to see anything but a 250 damage attack here. To soften up that Umbreon VMAX, see if Suicune can't clean that up the next turn.
Yeah, it has to be the...
But whether that's what you wanted to do or not, it seems like that's the cards that you were dealt.
Now, do you see here him trying to switch into single strike to come up and KO that so the Umbreon doesn't die?
Well, here's what's interesting to me, Steven. So let's do some math. Let's go to math class. So
I'm ready.
This Umbreon VMAX has 310 HP.
Sure does.
It has 20 damage on it.
So that would be 290. All right, I'm 100%
This is a fun game. All right.
Okay.
So if I do 250 damage, how much HP does Umbreon have left?
That would be 40.
Okay, so if I have these 2 Drizziles on the bench, do you think that there might be anything that I could do the following turn, maybe with those Drizziles, to then get a KO on Umbreon and then also...
I think if I hadn't discarded a bunch of Inteleon, I don't know... Which he has 2 Chilling Reign ones, but we saw 2 get discarded. So he has, I assume, 1 left. We can see he's going to quick ball here.
It could be a situation where even if you're able to do 2, you could do 2.
Yeah, and then 2 again.
Something else.
Yeah.
KO that, again. And then 2 again, and then also take a KO that turn. It is going to be interesting to see exactly how Devin plays that out, but it's just a board state that I noticed, and I was like, okay, I'm interested to see how the players
He discarded 2 of his 3 Inteleons, is what we know.
Yeah.
And we've not had a good look recently to see if there's one prized. But he does have, he's going to scoop up net here. Let's see, top 8.
It was 2 single strike, 2 Suicune variants. There was a Shadow Rider. There was a Victini. There was... trying to remember all of them. We do see the players here just going ahead and counting.
There was,
punches.
yeah.
There was a Sylveon,
thank you. There was a Sylveon variant, and that made it to top 4 as well. There might have been another lone, straight Ice Rider, and then the hybrid one, and then straight Suicune.
Yeah, I think that is what it is. I think it was 2 Suicune variants, and then 1 this Ice Rider deck that also plays Suicune.
And both of those Suicune variants were on the Ludicolo version. Yep.
So we do see Evolution Instance going ahead and grabbing that Houndoom.
No problem.
Going ahead and quick ball discarding another Incense, just thinning out this deck here. Grabbing a single strike Urshifu, it looks like. At least debating so. And it does look like we are going to grab that and bench it. All right, we are discarding Houndoom to the Tower of Darkness here.
Research.
We did find a research. All right, so we're going to keep the train rolling.
Chugga. Choo choo. Super mode.
It is super mode. Super mode still.
Did you expect him to miss it, James? At this point, he's staring at this guy. 100% of the plays.
Yeah, I actually, no one on camera.
He was like, "I'll show you Melanie."
No one in the chat can see the players' faces, but I promise you, there is not a moment that Richard has blinked. The entire match just has been staring Devin in the eyes the entire time. You could cut this tension in the room with a knife. You see the physical attachment return as a single, or no, that is a Houndoom effect that we are using. Sorry. So both of the Houndoom effects going onto the bench there.
Richard doesn't have a lot of cards left, so
now we're entering that phase. So what's really interesting is the pace of the game in general right now.
Yeah.
Feels like we're drawing through our decks extremely quickly, but the games themselves take a while to finish still.
Yeah.
So you enter this mode where everyone gets down to like 15 cards in deck, and then it's just that's the KO phase where everyone's just like, all right, I have to figure out how to just manipulate these last few cards.
And then that's where the first 2 turns that were 3-minute turns matter so much. Because you were doing so much, you were discarding so much, and then it's like, oh, if I wouldn't have discarded this.
And it is important to note, actually, when we did move into this next turn, Devin did not set up that KO with the discarding those. We did opt for the Road of the High King there to go ahead and just facilitate a 2-hit KO on that Umbreon without having to discard that. Now, a reason to maybe do that would be if you don't have access to a Melanie, you discard those energies, and then Richard's able to gust up that Suicune, leaving you without energy. So that is likely what was going through Devin's mind. But either way, we do see that KO take place here as Richard goes ahead and goes down to 3 prizes. So
we have the attachment here to Ice Rider.
That's to
Suicune. Oh, yeah, to Suicune. Sorry.
Now. Oh, you're fine. We do have that Suicune up once again because we are going to be seeing that Blizzard Rondo this turn.
Taking the first KO, and this is very important.
It is definitely important. I mean, especially when we're doing the 2-hit KO game. Yeah. And that's why I think that in this matchup, especially, or any of these matchups where primarily, obviously, strategy of Pokemon changes, game state changes. Yeah. When the primary strategy of these decks going into the matchup is to 2-hit KO each other's 3-prize Pokemon, the first attack is so important in that race.
I saw a quick shot in Teleon there whenever he went through. So he has, that's the one I guess he would have left. Unless it was a Drizzile. Their arts and the way the cards look from a distance look very similar too.
All right, we do see that Ice Rider evolve.
Do you like that evolution there? Well, I guess they're, yeah, okay. We're not threatening like Umbreon here or anything, so.
Yeah, so we do see the KO there with Blizzard Rondo. That is going to go ahead and bring Devin down to 3 prizes now. All right, Richard going to go ahead and start his turn off with a quick ball, discarding a single strike Urshifu V. We are entering these pivotal turns, Stephen, where the game is going to be decided here. Are we going to a game 3, or is this it?
I think we're going to game 3. Ritual shuffling those last final 6-7 cards. It looks like not many.
Yeah. Taking a look at all of his options here, because again, this could run out like if Richard's out of urns. We have seen multiple of them be used or discarded. I'm not sure.
I see one.
I do see at least one in his hand. I believe, but it is a situation where with those final few cards in deck, it's really going to depend on this.
Yeah.
What's in hand when.
Yeah.
And because we need those energies in the deck.
Yeah.
Because Devin does not need that upkeep. That's kind of the way, right?
Yep.
Is Devin does not just Suicune can do that every turn. Like
he's good now. It's really at this point up to Richard just to win this game.
Well, and it's a situation where if Richard is not able to take a KO on the Suicune, we could legitimately just see a boss's orders on that Crobat V knockout with Suicune, and then a boss's orders on that Houndoom with a future Suicune or Ice Rider, and then that's the game. We're 2 bosses away, and I see them in the front of Devin's hand, back to back.
He knows what he's about at this point.
Just taking a look over all of his options, making sure that every decision that is made from here goes towards his game plan, because this is the do or die moments. Making sure which resources Devin has used, what they have access to, checking those quick shootings, just actually checking every single thing that he can. As we see the physical attachment return as a single strike energy from hand onto the benched Urshifu VMAX. Yes.
Does Houndoom have 2 retreat or 1?
Houndoom, it definitely is fruit root. They're balloon either way. But let me go ahead and take a look here. I believe it's 2. It is.
Yep. Now Devin's staring at Richard.
Yep.
He's got his arms laid down.
It's one of the. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, do you have it or not? Because we can go to game 3, but if you don't have it, then maybe we won't.
Yep.
Richard just making sure he can't make any other plays with his hand, and it looks like Richard may have to pass here. Yep, that is a pass from Richard, and unfortunately, there's the fleet-footed ability from Suicune. Going to go ahead and draw an extra card here. There's the boss's orders. We are going to go ahead and bring out that Crobat here. So we are going to make it to where just any single prize in the future can go ahead and get taken to close out the game.
Now, can Richard one-shot this VMAX with his single strike VMAX?
So it definitely can happen. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So
he has an urn.
We do see Devin here take those 2 prizes on the Crobat
to go down to 1 prize.
So here we go. Can Richard make this happen and make a game 3 take place?
We have 2 single strike energies on it right now. He's going to show us. Yeah.
Richard,
yeah.
Does Richard have access to a boss's orders? Or he has access to that Umbreon?
VMAX. All right, James, take me back to math class real quick.
All right, let's go ahead and go to math class, because that is a lot of single strike energy there, as we see that Gmax 1 blow do 270, 290, 310, 330, 350, and a capture energy. All right,
in case.
Richard taking game 2.
He will not be denied at least an opportunity for game 3.
That is true. We'll go ahead and bring it into the booth one last time before the tournament is over.
I think that win is so important for Richard. Like, being down, he lost 2-0 last time. Being in the finals again. Losing game 1. Almost losing game 2. But just figuring it out, winning that game, he's got to be confident going into this, right? Like, he has to be.
The only thing is that part of that win there was because he got to go first.
Yeah.
We are now going to get to see what happens when Devin gets the opportunity to go first. Or when Devin gets the opportunity to choose to go second, and if he can hit a Melanie. Either way, that really would put Devin in the driver's seat. So this is still anybody's game, of course. There's so many different things that can happen here. We are just going into a fresh game 3. Now, everyone, make sure in chat you are letting us know. Is it going to be Suicune Ice Rider or is it going to be Urshifu Umbreon? One of these decks is going to win the Trooper Tour very, very, very soon. What do you think?
I'm for Richard, man.
Yeah?
I think he's gonna do it. I think he got this win.
Yep.
And I think his nerves are calmed down a little bit. I think he knows it's within his reach now. He's just got to win one.
Yeah.
And I know while he's shuffling, just one more, and I get $1,000. I get a trophy. I get this trophy that was taken from me 3 months ago. I get to redeem myself. I get to drive back tonight or stay at a hotel, knowing that I won and I got it. Being so close to lose twice would be rough, and I don't think he's gonna let it happen. I understand that you don't agree.
It's not that I don't agree,
but
anything can happen. I'm just the reason I was sighing is because I'm nervous. I'm sitting here thinking nervous. Like they're playing. This is not an $800 match of Pokemon anymore. This is an $800 game of Pokemon. $800 difference in the prizes here.
Yeah.
So we are going to have a very, very interesting situation on our hands here as we hop back into the game for the final time.
Be sure to stick around after this match is over because you'll get to meet the winner. James is going to interview them. And feel free in chat, too, to ask them questions when that happens.
For sure, yeah. We're going to be doing a Q&A with the winner after the
what they were thinking, just everything, So we'll see.
Yeah, both of the players here definitely great people.
Yeah, I like Devin too. I like Richard. Yeah. Like I said, I was checking up on both of them. We've seen like 4 of Devin's games today too. Yeah. We've seen them both. They're both pretty chill. I'm excited. There's one game.
Friends, the final game of Trooper Tour Evolving Skies is underway. We see Devin opting to go first. Get those Sobbles into play. Get everything into play. See if we can get that first attack. There's a path to the peak. Will that be relevant? It looks like it very much could be. We do see a water energy on this Sobble. Devin debating either playing that level ball or holding it for a Drizzile. I definitely like playing it here, getting a second Sobble.
Yeah, just anything, right? Like
anything to make sure that I don't go home sad. I don't think that there's a way for Richard to win on turn 1. Umbreon does 30. Single Strike Energy as a physical attachment would do 50. Sobble is 60. You should be fine. Definitely up to you. But where I already have a supporter as Devin, I don't think I hold the level ball regardless because I'm just going to want to play that supporter and then find my Drizzile anyway. Yeah, definitely going to be a Marnie next turn, it looks like. But what I was seeing, if I saw Richard's hand correctly, and if he doesn't draw anything new for turn, we may see a situation where he was really going to rely on a Crobat to get set up here, and that path to the peak may just take the may just win the event. We do see a Quick Ball discarding an Urn.
He is going to Marnie him into 5 new cards, or 4 new cards.
Yeah.
So Richard still at this point is going to
potentially the other option that's on the table if Richard clearly shows that he does not have a hand is to retreat the Sobble, put a water energy in the discard pile, and then use Melanie. If you're able to get a V Pokemon to be able to do that, if you're able to wait, because what you're actually able to do is you can just sit there with Sobble. If Richard presents nothing this turn, you can use Sobble's attack to go ahead and fill your bench with more Sobbles, thin your deck, get more set up, use those turns to your advantage. It's going to be so cool to see how both of these players navigate this game.
Well, just in Devin not knowing.
Yeah. Will Devin play the Marnie? What do you think? Do you think he will?
I think he will. I think he's going to be worried at looking at this board state, regardless of supporter or not, that he's going to fall behind too quickly and then not do it. Now, that's a really big... If he doesn't Marnie him and he just believes in like using this attack, this keep calling, it's going to be very powerful. But I don't know how much he trusts his own path to the peak here.
For sure. If I put a path to peak in play, watch my opponent use a Quick Ball, and then pass without attacking or using a supporter... I top decked a level ball. There's 0 chance I'm using Marnie now because I have Drizzile. I have access to any draw card in my deck.
What's your other draw option? Research to discard that, though?
Yeah, all day.
The level ball makes it much easier.
It is going to be interesting to see what Devin goes with here. We are going to see that level ball. Level ball grabbing Drizzile. Drizzile onto the bench.
What does he grab, James?
I mean, if I'm Devin, let me take a look here. I think it's got to be a research. I have to get in the game. It has to not be with this Marnie.
It's a quick ball.
Quick ball is also a great option because if I quick ball here, retreat the Sobble, Melon. If I quick ball for Suicune, retreat Sobble, Melanie onto Suicune, and then draw a water energy or a way to get a water energy or Ice Rider, either one of these things here, and am able to just get that powered up and that attacking without having to expend this Marnie as well. Things are definitely looking good. I potentially would have grabbed Suicune there because then that gives me access to another draw with the Fleet-footed ability.
Because you are low.
And I just want to attack. It doesn't matter with what.
I think he's going to Marnie.
Yeah, okay. The path would have prevented the fleet-footed draw. That is correct. Sure. I apologize. I still think with the 2 energy attack there, that would have been.
So he's going to Melanie.
Yeah, so there's the Melanie. And that I believe that was a Sword and Shield Inteleon, or are they both quick shooting?
I think it's both quick shooting.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here because Ice Rider, we are attacking with the baby one here. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So for Ice Rider, we do have the Pierce for 40 or 3 energy for 200, and then you have to discard 2 of those energies.
It looks like he just pierced there.
Yeah, just pierced for 40. And
now
it's going to be interesting. We do have an Ice Rider VMAX, so now we can Road of the High King.
Richardson was pretty quick there.
Yeah, I mean, after Richard hasn't done anything for 2 turns, that there's just no way that I'm giving them a new hand, but it's going to be interesting.
It's just that path. That turn 1 path and him not being able to quick.
Yeah, I mean, because that quick ball for Crobat would have just definitely set him up. Because that's the thing. Now that this is a Calyrex VMAX, things look great. And definitely would rather have this setup over Suicune in this situation.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, now that I've got Ride of the High King, I just need to... And my opponent already has a big bench, so...
It's the same thing, though, where now Devin's trying to decide how he's going to navigate this. He's up. Richard draws a research, though. And things could be different.
Yeah, no, the game is not over still. Even a Tower of Darkness, potentially.
Yeah.
So we are going to see the quick shooting add 2 damage counters onto that Rabbit Strike Urshifu. Again, you've got to watch out and be careful with that, too, because of things like the scroll.
Yeah.
We are going to see a boss here, too. And it looks like we're going in on the Urshifu here.
This is scary, right? Because if he does draw something here...
With that already having a single strike energy, so here's the problem. That Calyrex is at 320. We just did 250 and it had 40, so that's 290.
Yep.
Single strike or scroll does 10 more, and then 20 for the single strike. So if we are able to get scroll, that would just be a return KO, right?
Yeah, he drew an air balloon.
Well, that's not a scroll.
That's scary, though. That would have been the first time we saw a scroll.
Yeah, really.
To be able
6,
to
12,
knock this
18, 24, 29, 30. Yeah, that would have been actually just
37.
Exact
370, yeah.
Richard going ahead and using Houndoom's ability here.
Rough.
Looks like it's really going to pay off because we may be able to see a KO on that Urshifu with some quick shootings instead of actually having to KO that through an attack, which is just such a tempo advantage.
He would have had to scroll then.
Yeah.
Because
scroll because it's 290 and then 10 damage from scroll for 300 and then 20 from this. So literally just no investment, attach a scroll, and it's 320 to knock out that in response. energy in
Yep.
order to get that back. We see the promotion of the Umbreon, I believe, because we're going to try and use that Umbreon attack, the first attack, to do 30 base damage, so 50 total. So we are going to do 50 damage to that Ice Rider here. And Ice Rider cannot retreat the next turn, is the secondary effect on that Umbreon attack. All right. What will Devin do?
He still does not want to Marnie Richard.
Yeah, I mean,
If Richard can find a way to utilize this single strike Urshifu with the scroll, but he can't now because he air ballooned it.
correct.
So he did Marnie. Richard has never been happier than in that moment, though. Even though
Richard still has a dead hand.
Yep. He still wasn't able to draw.
Yeah, the other thing is the play where you're discarding those energies kind of forces you into the Marnie the next turn because you can just ride to the High King twice. You can also play around the scroll there, and it would just 2-hit KO still present a 2-hit KO onto that Urshifu. But unfortunately, since we did discard those energies and need to get something going, we had to Marnie ourselves.
Yep.
All right, we do see Drizzile going ahead and finding a Melanie, I guess, for next turn.
Yeah. It says Richard's like really like his last shot, right? Like he's gonna have to draw something right now.
I mean, Richard needs to draw a card because we've got to switch a Quick Ball while that Path to Peak is still in play.
Yeah.
I believe in Evolution Incense, and was that a Umbreon V?
Umbreon V Max.
Okay, yeah, I mean
That's useless at this point, you know.
Well, I mean, it is technically isn't useless.
Oh, because you can evolve into it manually and Houndoom it, right?
Correct, and then we're presenting 200 damage on the active, so having access to an Umbreon V Max is definitely relevant, and either way, you could get that with that Evolution Incense. So we are still playing, and Richard has new life again because he didn't even have access to that in that last hand.
He's not drawn a single supporter.
No, but the thing is once he does,
this whole thing can shift. Like, it's just if he draws it, you know, and it's so hard. He drew a Piers.
There's a Piers. We see Piers.
Evolution's Incense.
There's Evolution Incense. It's actually going to go grab a Houndoom here. What can we do? And we did see that top decked Piers.
Can that save us, James?
It really can. Use
quick
it
shooting.
last turn, actually, yeah.
That's a big...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big...
Okay.
That's going to be...
I was under the assumption that he did.
Okay, that gives them one more turn.
I believe the Marnie was... He drew 5, played the Drizzile, and then got...
Yeah.
I mean, we can get a judge to check how many cards are in Devin's hand.
Yeah, we'll check on that right now.
All right, we're getting a judge to check on that. We just need to know how many cards there. There we go. 1, 2, 3.
Devin's talking to the judge right now.
Yeah, I also assumed that he had used quick shooting last turn, but unfortunately forgetting that.
He pointed to that Sobble.
Yeah. But that would just be 4, since the Drizzile replaces itself, so... I believe they're still talking.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that he only drew the 4. All right, so Piers there, going ahead and grabbing Umbreon V and Capture Energy. Capture Energy getting attached up front, it looks like. Searching the deck. Gonna go ahead and grab that Single Strike Urshifu V. Yeah, I mean even with the Forgotten Quick Shot, that Urshifu is really just kind of sitting dead there, since it not only can it not get powered up through Houndooms without dying, but
Yeah.
it also can't have a scroll attached because it has an air balloon, so it really is just dead weight there.
Still not being able to get this path to peak, man. Like,
yeah, it's just what I was saying earlier, where I mean, there's any number of things that can happen. Richard could have drawn a tower at some point, bumped that path, but these static ability, or these static stadiums that can just stop your opponent from playing games, really can just win championships.
I was told that they went back and he did draw 4, but him and Devin resolved that, and they're moving forward, is what the head judge just told us. So,
yeah, it looks like they have corrected that now.
Devin at first had said that he thought he drew 5, so they had to go back and count everything and look. Thank you all for letting us know.
Yeah, so we did get that corrected. And we'll see what we are able to get.
So Umbreon did attack here.
There's a Tool Scrapper on the air balloon, so that actually opens up Richard to be able to scroll now.
If he were to find it, right? Like,
yeah. All right, so there's the quick shooting. We're in the booth. We don't have exact details on exactly what the head judge and Devin discussed as far as warnings, penalties, anything like that. So I'm not sure how they resolved it. I know that they were able to get the correct number of cards into Devin's hand.
we're waiting for clarification right now.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look here. Yeah, and let's go ahead and take a look here. Turn Quick Ball is going ahead and discarding that. We are getting clarification on exactly what the penalties or ruling was, but where we're just trying to commentate on the game as we go. It definitely would not have resulted in an auto game loss. They're going ahead and discussing things and exactly what took place now, though. I'm sure that there was some sort of penalty issued, whether that was a warning and then fixing it. Maybe it is a prize penalty, but yeah, that definitely is not a game loss anywhere close to. But they are going ahead and getting that taken care of. We will make sure that they get a proper extension and everything like that. We don't want anything like that to flub up the finals. Yeah, I mean, we're getting the clarification now on exactly what the head judge did to resolve that as far as penalties go. We will get that information to you guys. I'm sorry it's taken a little bit to get that for you, that information for you guys, but Steven is on the case as we speak. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody tuning in. I really appreciate you all interacting with us and letting us know when you do notice things. I mean, we really do appreciate it because we want to make sure that everything is taken care of. We want to make sure that everything is up to what it should be, and that all players are playing on an equal playing ground. Yes, there will be a time extension. We'll get the clock reset with what that is and everything, but yeah, there will be a time extension for all of this. But yeah, I will get I'll get everybody updated with the details on the length of the time extension. I'll get the clock reset, and we'll get it all figured out shortly. Just trying to get everything taken care of now. I really appreciate everybody sticking with me through this. We just want to make sure that everything gets taken care of. All right. So they are discussing this now. The players are discussing the game. It is very interesting to see how this is going to end up finishing. We were seeing that Suicune be promoted here. Let's take a look here. But yeah, everyone, if you could just hang tight with us. For those that are not aware, we are still in the finals. There is going to be a time extension. There is a ruling over something that took place that they're going to go ahead and make sure that is taken care of to the best of everyone's abilities. I will be updating everyone with what penalty, if any, was issued, and we will update the timer with their time extension. So there's still plenty of action left. The Trooper Tour is not over. We're just on pause to make sure that everything gets taken care of. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here. All right, everyone, and just to let you all know, I'm going to step away from the mic for just a second. We're going to make sure that everything gets resolved, and we will let you all know exactly what that penalty is. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We do have some information, and I want to just talk to everyone about what has taken place. We want to make sure that we reviewed everything as fully as possible to make sure that this event and everything was held up to the highest quality standards possible. So I just want to have a moment with everybody here, if we could. Hi, everybody. I'm James Arnold, and we wanted to go ahead and discuss what took place. So now, normally, with certain things like perhaps where it would just be a complete shuffle of the deck, that could potentially be some type of repairable game state where even though it wouldn't be the exact card, they could potentially make it to where that game state could in some way, with a penalty issued, have something happen. But because that was specifically Marnie, and those cards have to be on the bottom of the deck, a random card from the deck cannot be drawn to replace that card. And because that was game 3 of the series, and the penalty for that specific type of irreparable game state with Marnie is a game loss, unfortunately, a game loss has been issued to Devin, declaring Richard the winner of the Trooper Tour. I do want to apologize to everyone. We wanted to make sure that we went through everything, made sure that we were making the right call on everything. I really do appreciate you all reaching out to us in chat to make sure that everything gets taken care of the way that it should be. With rulings and things like that in the past, there can be issues or can be rulings issued such as that extra drawn card. But where it's Marnie and those cards have to be on the bottom of the deck for that game state to be maintained, that is what has to take place. So I hope everyone understands that. This is not a ruling that we take lightly. This is not something that anyone is happy about or anything. It is just unfortunate that that type of error takes place. It's kind of what we were talking about earlier, where even if you think you're in a one game state or something with the game, you have to make sure that you are taking all the precautions you can in the order that you play cards to resolve them correctly, because something like this can end up resulting in a situation that no one really wants to have. And so I do want to shout out Momio Cocoon. Thank you so much for reaching out to us with that. I really do appreciate you with that. I thank you. Yeah, no, you did not start a problem or anything. I thank you very much for allowing that for bringing that information to our awareness. We wanted to make sure to just go ahead and get everything done, which is why we did have Steven go ahead and stop the game. I really just want to talk with everyone, make this as real as possible with you all. This was not a decision that we just were like, yeah, it's a game loss. It's just, unfortunately, the finals of the Trooper Tour, unfortunately, in game 3, one of the players, it was an entire mistake. There was nothing malicious because it was failure to draw one of their own cards. So it would have just helped them. But unfortunately, where it was a Marnie, they Marnied to the bottom of the deck and then they drew 4 and then they level balled, creating an irreparable game state. And unfortunately, because that was game 3 of a best of 3, that was the end of the event. And so I actually do have our head judge here, if our head judge would like to speak on this. Let me go ahead and get him in the booth here. Taylor, if you would like to speak on this at all, I have gone over what the ruling was, why it had to be that way. But if you want to tell the people anything about it, because again, this is nothing against Devin. Devin did not try to cheat. There's no one is trying to say anything like that. It's just, unfortunately, there are rules. We have to uphold the event that we've ran to those rules, and unfortunately, that just is it just happened to be in the finals in game 3.
Yep. Unfortunately, in this situation, as James has already said, the cards that were shuffled onto the bottom of the deck do have to be there when all 5 cards are drawn. However, Devin only managed to draw 4 of them before playing Level Ball to search his Sobble. At which point the game state is broken because those four cards, not four necessarily, but the cards he shuffled into the deck are no longer on the bottom. So an example could be his Tool Scrapper. That's a 1-of in his deck.
Yeah.
He could have drawn that.
Yeah, like where I was telling them about how it's something like an in or something in the
Yeah,
past, not to bring up in, but just legitimately where if it was a random card, there could be some other things and other situations.
That's the example I gave them. I said if it's in, then where all the cards are random anyway, then it's just simply draw your 5th card, continue to play because all the cards are random. But unfortunately, the poor design of Marnie puts the cards on the bottom.
Well, it's definitely interesting. We definitely just wanted to make sure that we got everything resolved the way that it needed to be, that we upheld the event to the highest standard possible. It's unfortunate that in such an important game that happened. Because the cards for Marnie have to be on the bottom, you can't just deny the 5th card because you have to resolve that card's effect fully. You can't just start resolving parts of cards and then make that okay. Because that does apply to like decking out. That does apply to cards that could then be Marnied once again onto the bottom. The placement of these cards is just so important that we can't create more of a broken board state ourselves by trying to fix a game in order to dodge a game loss, regardless of what point in the tournament that's taking place.
Yeah, even in the situation where I thought maybe we could rewind it to where he searched the Sobble, just unlevel ball, just because the cards are Marnie and she puts them on the bottom. There's no. It sucks that that's how you lose $800, but
it happens.
It happens.
Yep.
I've been there.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure we've both been there.
Well, I mean, a classic example is like the state championships 2009. Me and you playing against each other, and you didn't set out your prizes, and it was game 3.
Game 3.
I won because of that in a game that I may not have otherwise won.
And then when we played it out, I would have won.
So it's just situations like that. It's always been a thing in Pokemon. There are things that happen that you just cannot repair, and unfortunately, that is just unfortunately. I mean, we're not trying to treat the players any certain way. We're trying to treat all the players equally fair according to the rules set in place by Pokemon themselves. And unfortunately, those are the rules set in place. Not unfortunately, those are the rules set in place, but unfortunately, we have to apply those rules.
We even looked for multiple ways to try and downgrade it, but it just wasn't possible just because of how Marnie works. This is another example of how you're always on Twitter. It needs to just be legal constantly.
Well, I mean, I definitely have some opinions on it I can discuss later. But for right now, we are going to hop back. I'm going to go ahead and grab Richard. We're going to go ahead and do a winner's interview. But yeah, guys, I really do appreciate you all sticking with us. I'm sorry that things had to end like that as far as the game goes. We do still have some content for you, and we have some trophy and some money to give away. So let's go ahead and take a look here. All right, and it does look like we've got Richard. How's it going, Richard? How's it going, my friend?
Going well.
And let's go ahead and take a look here.
Oh, thanks.
There is your Trooper Tour champion, Richard Sepulveda. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well played, my friend. Unfortunate that it ended in the exact way that it did, of course. I don't think anybody wanted to see it end like that. But it is, we are glad that we were able to get that resolved for everyone in the way that it needed to get resolved. What do you have to say? Do you have any thoughts on the game or the tournament?
Honestly, it was very unfortunate that what happened. I honestly didn't even catch it. I didn't know what was happening until the judge called it, and then that match was like I was done for. Like there was no way I could come back once he played the path to the peak on turn 1. I had nothing else. I had the quick ball, but I couldn't get the Crobat, and I was just stuck. I was hoping for the research, Marnie, or a stadium, and I got nothing, but I mean, it was just very unfortunate. I did not want to win like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it definitely should not understate how well you played the entire event, how you made it through the event undefeated, all the way to the finals and then beyond. So, definitely congratulations, well playing. Do you have anybody you'd like to say anything to?
I like to say hi to my wife, my 2 kids at home. You know, she wanted to be here, but unfortunately, the mother-in-law wasn't in town this time, not like before. So thank you for all your support, babe, and you know, coming home with $1,000.
Yep. Yeah, we've got that $1,000 right here, and so here we go. There is your $1,000, my friend. We've got a champion playmat for you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
You know, it's funny because when I go to my locals, I play with the finalist one that I got in the last tournament. And every time I'm just like, oh, Cramorant. And then I'm like, I open up my binder and I had Cramorants in there. And I'm like, I'm just going to trade them in. I don't even want to see this card anymore. But, you know, thank you guys for everything. The tournament was great. It was a big turnout. I mean, it reminded me of, like, the good old days of, like, the big league cups and regionals and everything like that. So thank you guys for hosting this event.
For sure. Hopefully we'll see you at the next one to defend your title.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and just congratulations once again on all your well playing, everything, and on being the champion of Trooper Tour Evolving Skies.
Thank you guys. Appreciate everything.
All right, everyone. That is going to do it here from the booth. Steven, do you have anything you'd like to say to the people?
He's still relatively new. So.
Yeah. For sure. All right, everyone. I am James Arnold signing off. Thank you all for tuning in. We will be back with Trooper Tour Fusion